not see you yet.
I don't see myself yet, but that's
And
fine.
I now do.
Woohoo.
Oh, and I heard you too.
Streaming.
Woohoo.
Oh, I should, before we are now streaming,
Yeah.
so fuck it. Anyway, you may find that your name is misspelled on your present,
Okay,
because I couldn't remember how to spell it when my mother asked.
that's
I
fine.
got her to write it for me because my handwriting is incredibly...
As I
I
said,
don't know if you know that about me, but it is.
even the thought of you wishing to send a gift was gift enough, so I appreciate it. Even if it's misspelt.
It's like,
See if it
listen,
turns up CNUT though is my name. I might get a
bit. You won't. My mother wouldn't do that. I had to think, like, what is his surname? I was like, oh, yeah. And I was like, how do you spell that? Irish?
Yeah, it is an interesting one. A small anecdote as we start. In one of my former jobs, I was on the phone with a customer, lovely Irish man, going, "What part of Ireland are you from?" And I'm like, "I'm actually Scottish." And he's like, "But your name?" I was like, "What's your surname?" Because it was getting quite heated, and I'm like, "I think I know where I've been told I'm from," and then because we don't really fact check these things personally, and
yeah, I didn't, certainly.
And I was like, oh god, both my names are Irish. It's like, this doesn't help my case. So, yeah, this is not the Victor Triumph pseudonym I go online by, obviously, for those questioning Victor Triumph's Irish.
Triumph! So Irish.
It's a strong Irish name. Yeah.
Yup.
Strong Irish name, yes.
I mean, yeah, I get that as well. Like, is that an Irish name? I was like, sort of.
I never get that.
I don't get that.
I wonder
either.
why.
Although Gib did misspell my name on the present this year.
How? Did you write blue? That's all I'll say.
What was that? Sorry, I missed all of that.
I said, how did you write blue? And he says, that's all I'll say.
No. He put the E at the end.
Ah, fair,
I don't know if that's
right?
because I've told him before about.
Do you dislike that, I take it?
It might have been a joke at your expense then. Gib wouldn't do that.
It was a joke that involved expense, I guess. So there you go. I'm being a
Someone
presenter.
tried to phone me. What the fuck is this? I don't know.
Didn't you just tell them you're
Don't
live?
they know it's Monday?
You've been live for at least an hour, of course, based on our schedules.
Still alive.
It's live all the way down. We know this.
Yeah. So for those of you at home, it's nearly Christmas. So obviously,
happy that
Christmas
everybody.
Chats, have a Christmas.
Good hello,
Have to be
Christmas folks.
Hello, I have a Christmas tea. It's got cinnamon in it, and
Nice.
it smells lovely.
A cinnamon candle
Finished
from
all
everyone.
of mulled wine tea the other day.
Oh, that sounds amazing.
It was good.
Wish I had mold.
Wish I'd wine.
Okay, so if anybody wants to gift us those things we just mentioned, please do.
You can have my address when you prize it from my cold dead hands.
You can have my address if you ask for it, and then
it's above the toilet shop.
So in the comment
It is above
section
the toilet
somewhere, do that thing. So when somebody else trolls the other 80 episodes just for snippets of things that allude to Callum's address.
It's just go to your local toilet shop and ask.
It's Callum here, you know.
Callum here.
Callum's here.
And the ironic thing would be
realize that every Callum you know lives above a toilet shop.
That's true because
in
know
Scotland,
other
that's a lot of Callums.
Actually, that's not true. I know other Callums, but I don't know them well enough to consider that I know them. I know of Callums.
Just passing in the toilet shop, yeah.
Are you telling me that this is Nico was the one that was holding us together? Or is that what you are telling me? Because we don't have a Nico just now. Like
no,
it was the captain, the actual glue.
Listen. You're in charge.
Don't
here.
you throw that at me. I gave up being in charge long ago.
We are now in the world of esoteric and narco RPG.
Yeah. Which is the way to be, if you ask me. But you didn't ask me, so here we go. Welcome to the Fragments of Eternity, session 81. Exactly what you expected it to be. I am Ryan, the GM, so I'm told. And I'm in charge, so I'm told. It's the 21st of December, 2020. Oh man, it's the most wonderful time of the year. Here are the players.
It's beginning to look a lot like Pikachu Joker. Hello, I'm Pikachu Joker. I'm not, I'm Colin, and I will be playing Lyco Quint, your sneaky, spooky, altogether kooky cop. Space cop, coast to coast. Hi.
Hi.
Hello.
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 I'm Alex. This week I will be playing Weird the Android Mechanic and asking the important question: why does the EU, the larger, stronger United Nations, not simply eat the UK?
True though, right?
Listen, the Germans have changed.
Wow. Cycling swiftly on before the February term back ends me, so keep going.
Hello there, good people of Christmas Town. It is me. You may know me as the toilet shop guy,
Independent Charles?
and I'm here to tell you that I, Callum, am playing Zig, the Burning Sun, in this production of the Fragments of Eternity, the movie.
Wow, it's a special? I didn't know it was meant to be a special. I might have wrote something. As an excuse as to why we weren't playing. The game though, what do you remember from last time?
There's a Nico.
There was and there isn't now, so you're captainless. But to be fair, in a way, a true way, weren't we always captainless?
Weren't we the captains we made along the way?
I mean, you all were captains for a while, so...
Isn't Jesus the captain of our ship?
I don't know if I can comment
He's
on
dead,
that
so we should
now.
probably assign someone else.
As I said, TOS has stopped me commenting on those things now, sadly, so here we are. My limitations therein.
Am I allowed to insult the terms of service?
No libel here, Colin.
I don't know,
You should
actually.
start libel.
I wonder if it's against TOS to insult the TOS, and maybe
For anyone
is
who
questioning the TOS against
understands.
TOS? These are the real questions that we will not get.
Who
into,
are you
hopefully.
really?
Welcome to the Twitchvolution.
Would it be
Take a pamphlet?
Yes,
Oh dear.
from our new mascot, Gary the Guillotine.
Could I suggest that the terms of service were involved in war crimes in the 90s?
Ooh.
I mean, most people were, weren't they?
I mean, yeah.
It
a
was
lot of people were in the
blaringly
90s.
obvious, you could say, but I wouldn't say that.
Okay.
Blaringly. Anyway, so what do you remember from last time?
Query's a bit odd now.
Mhm.
He's kind of
He's Edgar.
Edgar-y, but like kind of not.
Mm.
And also, he's got plans that maybe I know about or maybe I don't. I don't know.
Yeah. Anything else that happened?
That was it. That was the whole session.
That was the whole 9 yards.
Bloods. My bloods are normal, which is good, or they're not normal, and I'm being lied to. I should probably. Who knows?
At least you gave them more of it.
At least you have blood.
Yeah.
Well, I've got less than I started with, so
Slightly.
I don't know how that works.
Not me. They don't take. Like they take a tiny bit, really.
Mhm.
It's not like half or anything.
Yeah, and given that it's like fancy high-tech space future, right? Like, ideally,
Because
you expect them
Weird
to have
was getting
synthetic
sawed
parts.
in half, we also had to sever the brain link.
Yeah, you
Brain link.
did.
Yeah, because I was causing problems.
Oh yeah,
we
that's right.
didn't think. And when I say we, I mean Callum didn't think of that beforehand. And I say
Zig
Callum
didn't think
because
of that either,
you're
to be
still-
fair. So
So we got our brain's bad heart,
Yeah.
and then we made a new connection with just me and him.
it's
Small
the
brand.
secret Lig Club.
The Ligco Club.
Lig. I feel like lig is a term. I know it.
And might
something?
be against terms of service.
Is it a term of service?
So
Okay.
moving swiftly on. Kids, don't Google that. Kids, stop using Google.
Stop
Yeah.
using terms of service.
Yes.
For our service.
Kids, get out of
Use
here. This is a
service.
mature channel.
I am very mature. Thank you.
Yeah.
Anyway, what were we talking about?
So we're talking about the mind link that was severed because of the
Space.
pain.
Yeah. Which we considered not to be a good thing.
Yeah. Got your memories fixed so far?
Yes, we did from Ramasetu.
It's good. She was very, very bluntly candid as per usual, which is always good of Risethu.
She was
Oh,
even
she spoke
sort
as
of
well. That was nice.
yeah, she was very much
Yeah.
like in the present.
Which is probably quite disturbing in itself as a concept.
Yeah.
I mean, it's disturbing. We grade in a curve.
Especially for bone sages.
The Sindale curve.
How many feathers do you have in your Sindel curve? Nobody knows.
Think about my Sindel curve.
Oh my. Anyway, TOS. So, that's what we're calling this session. But yes, anything else happened? So we had our androids about to get cut in half. We have had a Zig having a wee chat with Cleary after his blood work and donation to the Isoki blood
To the
requirement.
cause!
Yeah.
My brothers will be better off or worse off with my blood.
Yeah,
I
because
didn't know you were all from one letter.
all
I
the
mean,
Isoki
yeah.
were just a one-off.
In a way, we're
If you go far
all-
back enough,
yeah.
and it's not that far, it's only like 100 generations or something, every Yusoki's from the same
Hmm.
queen.
There you go, Queen.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yep.
Genghis rat.
Which
Yep.
is why he's got such an affiliation with royalty of
Uh,
all races.
Here's the thing, right? So I hear people say Genghis. Is it Genghis?
I think
Genghis.
Genghis is correct, yes.
Yeah, I was gonna say because
Got
I
that
always
wrong.
my instincts are to say Genghis, right? And I'm like, I feel like those are wrong. So
Yeah, I think we grew up with a poor Western
Yeah.
pronunciation.
I thought it was more like Chinggis.
So yeah, like it very possibly could
might
be.
Yeah, I mean,
So the reason I question this is because Nico always starts by saying like Genghis Khan, right? And then when I say Genghis as a reply, he then corrects to me, and I'm like, I don't think that's right though, because he's like the Genghis Khan history buff. See what I did there? And
Yeah.
when I was watching Discovery, small spoiler alert, but one character who happens to be Michelle Yeoh's character mentions Genghis Khan. I went, maybe I am the wrong one.
yes, it's certainly changed over the last few years when we listen to podcasts. That most people now pronounce Genghis.
So yeah, it's an interesting one because, again, one of those things. where
Guar pronounce it as Genghis. I'll tell you that.
Okay.
And that's who I go to for all my history.
Yeah, the late David Brocky. Yeah.
So back in the game though, just musings and thoughts and such. Right, what else did we have? We had that happen. We had obviously Edgar came and went at the start of the session as well. Maybe back to his life, whatever that is.
Busy, I guess.
Yeah, right. Doing Edgar stuff.
People to do, places to see,
Yeah, right.
places, people. Doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Good enough. Yeah.
No, I'm
Yeah.
sticking with it.
Yeah.
Next question.
I think that's it. I think we'll just look at goals now. So the goals that are in place that we've already reviewed off camera is Zora's is going to be meet Mogesh after York, so we don't need to worry about that. We've got retrieve the electroencephalon, which we don't need to worry about yet. Establish cybernetics business, which will be impressive while unconscious. Speak to Thanaida about the vault and gain access. With Zig. Speak with Kevlar crew on Versus. Prepare and embark for EOX, gain useful query info, gain useful MRO info, retrieve valuable objects from EOX for trade, maybe Q-Bob that is. So, with those in mind, let us open with Zig.
Hello.
Given that I think you were the cliffhanger, I think.
Yes. So yeah, he says below as if starting a new conversation, as if a week had passed, even though only a second or two.
A dramatic ending had passed, yes.
Hello. What?
Just Zig is now played by Brian Badondi.
Bow. Below. Anyway.
Yes. Oh dear. Can you imagine? Because I can, and it's glorious. So, it's the same exact character details, just played as if it was Brian Badundy instead. It would be the most Jar Jar Binks character ever, and I don't think the world is ready for that, to be perfectly honest.
Not yet. Give it another decade.
Use of people.
What you mean by use of people?
What use I mean?
Yeah,
Yeah.
use a bomb bad. So, Gungan aside,
I believe that man made two
Is
good
it
films.
Jungin?
is it Gungan?
That's good.
No, that's something that has terms of service.
Oh, sorry.
So
Yeah,
good.
Dunkin' Donuts. Yeah.
So anyway, so it's like I think Query's last words to you was the equivalent of "Do you want to know more?" I think. Like don't quote me on that. 'Cause
something along those lines.
pretty much like also kind of in the same vibe of "Are you gonna help this time?" You know, as well. It was somewhere between that. I forget what, but you know, the video that we
I
recorded
think I
doesn't.
said something like, I think Zig said something like, I want everything you've got or whatever, but probably not that, but words to that effect.
Yeah.
Tell me everything you've got.
I think we're
or
just
something.
we're just redoing that scene. It sounds like, isn't it? Like
Yeah.
none of us went and looked up what we can't remember, so we're just saying,
No.
Maybe there was a way to recount this.
right? Like it's almost like if it was recorded or something, like in perfect accuracy.
Like you could
Oh
go
man,
into
if
YouTube
only.
and look at your channel. And,
Yeah, like my channel, like
imagine-
/ Victor Triumph on YouTube.
Yeah.
Of all
and
things.
there'd be like an episode there that we could watch, and that would contain like a recording of
Yeah.
last week's session.
Weird. If only we... Anyway, so as you're sat there at this wonderful outdoor eatery in Hive Market, with a nice well-suited and e-cig smoking Query, only his smells of spin instead of the Arctic glacial freshness that Edgar was very fond of.
Mm.
He sits there, and I think, you know, maybe offers you the e-cig. I think that's... Did I cliffhanger on offering an e-cig? I feel like that would be a good cliffhanger if I did.
Well,
So let's say that
yeah,
happened.
and that Zig would put his hand up and just kind of, politely decline.
And he kind of shrugs and then takes a drag on his e-cig. Don't smoke, kids. So yeah.
Or do if you like.
It's cool.
It's bad for you, but it is cool.
The views of the guests on the Victor Triumph Twitch channel do not reflect or are even endorsed by the Victor Triumph Twitch channel. Anyway, so...
But they are endorsed by Big Tobacco for money.
For money.
If anyone would like to sponsor me,
I'll take up
please do.
smoking for money. I will not. I refuse. Been
I
down
will-
that path. It sucks.
I will take up smoking for money.
Yes. So he would politely refuse the the offer of the e-cig and kind of just like sit and look at him as if he's like ready to take on information.
And he sits there watching you kind of like, you know, almost just fidget with whatever it is you ordered to eat now. And he looks up at you and he says, "So, how far have you got on this one?"
Now Zig is going to
I'll get the bluff checks ready, shall
yeah. Is going to act like he knows exactly what Quedgar.
Quedgar, yeah.
Yeah.
How many
is
versions
talking
of Edgar
about-
have we had? Fucking hell, guys.
And say we have oh god, here we go. Yeah, he's just gonna say one has been taken care of. One we have eyes on, and two, and the other is underway.
I think Curry just narrows his eyes and, like, you know, he's got that kind of red glow at the end of his Z-Sig, and then kind of like blows out the vapor again. You can get like, you can't help but not smell the kind of spicy. I think I even described it as cinnamon and sulfur smell to it. And well, I'd cinnamon if I didn't before because it's Christmassy. So there we go. And he kind of just looks at you, as if expecting more.
Uh, uh, well, I'm gonna try and get third in later, but we're kind of unsure at this point. What how far did we
Oh, you
get
just
in
like
your universe?
as you say, like we're unsure at this point. He goes, "Well, what's the hold up?"
Ah, crap. Can I can I like I don't even know. Can I try and like see what like like it gains something from his expression to see if I like um I don't know, to see if he's like just trying to get information out of me for his own gain, or
Okay. You
Would
can
you
like
like to sense his motive?
yeah.
like sense his motive for this interrogation, or if he's genuinely interested in helping whatever my quest may be.
Okay, roll. We'll see. We'll see what comes of it.
Oh, I forgot how bad my sense motive is. Well, boof.
Okay. The way he said that sounds like he's likely to offer help with whatever's stopping you acquire the third thing.
Okay.
Right? That is the impression you get.
For the audience at home, Zig's assuming he's talking about eggs, but
Eggs.
who knows what we're talking about? He could be talking about universes or
Androids.
cheesecake, for all I know. um. So yes, he'll just say, "Well, I am. How truthful should I be? What's my bluff? I think I'll be
No.
quite truthful for this."
It's like, how truthful do I have to be? Is the answer.
Yeah.
Define truth, you know?
No.
I think he'll just say, well, due to some changes in the timeline of things, I'm still trying to discern fact from past truths.
Some changes in the timeline.
And he kind of like gives you a look and a raised eyebrow, and he kind of scratches at his platinum stubble. Okay, so what would help?
I think
I mean, feel free to consult with your other two fellow players. They have an opinion of what Zig may think of.
Ask him if he has a device that tracks eggs through multiple timelines.
An egg strapulator? Yeah.
Yeah.
It's fucking awful, but here we are.
can I be attempting to relay this conversation to Lyko as well in
Yeah, you've got the link with Lyko, so
maybe not
Range
real
closer.
time, but like I feel like upon seeing Query, he'd be like,
Mhm.
maybe I don't want to be alone for this.
and Lyko is in the hive market still.
Yeah, I think he would just say, oh, what would help? It's less of what would help, and it's what Zig would think Query would be able to help
Mhm.
with.
Uh-huh.
Because loads of things would help. You know, the Niner just, just doing whatever he wants would help.
Yeah,
But that's not going to happen. So,
as far as we know.
who knows? A conversation for later, I think.
Yeah.
After dark. I think Zig would act. He would probably just sigh and just be like, I don't know. I need need a better grasp of everything.
Like he chuckles, right, and in between inhalations, and then he kind of looks down, looks around at some other tables that are nearby, and these tables are just like the upturned kind of various debris that has been salvaged. Anything that is a flat enough surface to sit plates on, is what the tables of this kind of outdoor eatery form on Hive Market. And yeah, it's also just a kind of very, Tatooine vibed shithole of a planet, Akaton, right? So
Yeah.
it's not
Tatooine would definitely be gentrified.
fair.
Wow.
With
shithole planet.
like a Whole Foods, like a whole blue milk. Yeah. But yeah, so boba tea. But anyway,
But that's what the sequel trilogy should have been about.
but just the gentrification of like the outer rim. Like yeah.
Yeah.
Thing
That's
is
what
though,
should be fighting
wasn't that
against.
Kathleen Kennedy's show that their show is get? No, anyway. So, anyway, here we are. So he looks around at the tables and he goes, "Could use a drink. What about you?"
You just nod, and then like kind of I guess stuff whatever food I can't remember, but whatever food we got
Probably noodles.
into his mouth to kind of so he doesn't have to speak.
And he says, "We're back in a second." He gets up and heads over to get somebody's attention. It's mostly like a burger van style place that's set up. He walks over and orders 2 cans of space cola or something. Who knows?
I think while he's up, I'm
Mhm.
gonna brain Lyko.
Wow.
Yes, the endoverbal
And then I'm gonna
conversation.
contact him via brain comms,
Mhm.
and I think I just say I don't know. Is him being here bad? I'm unsure. I don't know whether to trust Monsieur Query with
Is that what you're saying, or is that what you're thinking about saying?
that's
I
what I'm
think
thinking.
I'm hoping
No,
this
that's
is
what I'm
Callum.
saying.
Thinking about thinking. Sorry.
You can translate that into Zig brain speech.
And like for you as well, it's been like I think I said it's been about like say an hour give or take, right? Maybe 2 hours I think, given the blood nonsense. So like I think you've been in Hive Market for about 2 hours. You thought I'll wait and grab some food while killing time for Lyko, because Lyko's going to be away for a while.
Yeah.
And yeah, obviously that like you can brain from a great distance your endoverbal conversation skills, but maybe like when you get the reply, whenever you decide what you're saying to him, might be a bit of either a relief or a shock, depending on the fact that Discover Lyko is still in Hive Market. But yeah, what is it you were sending to him as an opening volley?
Hey, Lyko, just spoken to Query of all people. I'm unsure whether to trust him. He's giving me very Edgar-y vibes right now.
Okay, so.
It comes up C.
Right. Get into character. He's. Where are you?
Noodle stand 48.
Hive Market?
Hive Market, yeah.
He's in Hive Market.
Yep. He's currently getting me a drink.
Huh. So he's not
And then just, waves at him while he's at the...
making any effort to hide from us then.
No, he approached me. I didn't notice. He just sat down in front of me.
I'm gonna ask you to try and needle him for information. I appreciate that maybe that's not gonna be the easiest task, but don't know, maybe start with what the hell went on the ship, how he escaped, end up here.
Okay. I'll do my best.
Do you Has he said anything so far that sounded important, or?
So you're only about 20 minutes away from that location, Lyko. FYI.
Yeah, I don't see that.
I think he's just been very interested in my activity, and I don't know. I think he was part of something important in his universe, dimension, land. Um,
Okay. Listen, I'm occupied at the moment, but keep me updated on events as they unravel. Also, side note, has he not got memory whammied back now? If this is after my mysterious return.
Yeah.
So would Zig notice maybe that his memory is perhaps a more cohesive thing?
I mean, Ziggs was never.
No, that's true. He wouldn't be confused like the rest of us because he
He
is
lived-
at fault.
I am the center point of the explosion.
Okay, so he wouldn't know. Okay, no, that's good.
Yeah.
And Lyko that would occur to Lyko, and Lyko is not going to play his hand just yet. He's going to sort of remain in the shadows a little bit.
Mhm.
Sure.
Cool.
Sorry, I had to do a yawn. But yeah, like he's definitely being a little. I don't know if you can like insight brain chat and
Yeah.
try and decipher or like.
The thing
see
is,
if you
I don't
can.
actually think Zig would. I
Mhm.
think he would just
Okay.
he's kind of, especially because the amount of time that's gone past. There's no way that you've like I don't think Zig would he'd think you're probably still like miles away
Mhm.
doing whatever you need to do.
Yeah, he's probably still riding the speeder bike all the way to Ramasethu's place, right?
Yeah.
So that's fine. I'm happy enough with like the idea. I think I would just take advantage to a degree of his the fact that he doesn't have the same issue and he wouldn't notice the
Mhm.
it's all sort of coming together and I can see how there are the two separate timelines now and like he doesn't have that moment of recovery of
Uh-huh.
understanding. So I think Lyco's kind of going to be a little bit sly here and uh, leave Zig a little bit in the dark in terms of the
Mhm.
fact that he's back in Hive Market already, and I think I'm gonna make efforts to. I don't know if I should spy or if that's even worthwhile because he's already with Zig.
My favourite
Or
part
maybe-
is the part where Ramasethu put you back to just after you paid for the speeder. And that's my favourite part of the whole thing. Not before you bought the speeder. For the day.
Yeah,
And
that's
my
true.
that's my favourite part is it's like, oh, you couldn't have given me like 5 minutes more back no, never mind. Okay. But yeah, like you could go and try and like stake it out if you wanted.
I think what I was thinking was that like, at some point he'll probably separate from Zig and like call him if he meets anyone, if he goes to place, that sort of
You don't have
That
any
is-
super fancy sci-fi listing device technology, do you? You know, like
Unfortunately not.
like I'm quite
I need
surprised that
maybe
Lyco doesn't
get-
have any actual stakeout gear.
No, he tends to just watch.
What you need to do is you need to get one of those pocket dimension cube things that
I have a really good scope.
yeah, and but you should get the thing that as I said, the pocket dimension of storage that Weird has, and just kit it out like an apartment building, you know,
I mean,
with the empty takeout boxes included and stuff. you
oh
know?
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, it's like, this is my stakeout room. What? It doesn't need to be this way. Yeah, it does.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
it
like
does.
all the takeout boxes they're just perpetually like that specific time period of left out.
Yep. hmm
Yeah. Oh
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, it's all staged. You know, it's like the wax fruit versions of staged But
Yeah, it's a very elaborate process of just making sure that it looks like,
Yeah.
because you need people to know this is steak.
yeah. But anyway, so do you want to go and scope them out? Then do you want to do a sneaky stealth roll for me to try and get into a position
I
then closer?
do.
Or
'Cause
do you
I
want to
don't know.
do you want to do anything before getting to them? Would be my other question.
I
It's
don't know
time
that I've
to
anything.
buy steak.
No, actually. Because I don't know what exactly I would need, and I have no money.
Mhm.
So, I will roll a little stealth.
Yeah.
But how well do I know their location? Would I need to?
He just said
I feel like
it'll
they
stand
gave you
for
Oh, you
the-
did. You did. You gave me
give you your
the
exact
specific. Yeah. So that is more than enough. Sorry, I forgot you specified exactly which.
Yeah.
Right. I'll give you a stealth roll.
Nice.
Not my best, but it's not bad.
It's pretty damn good though.
It was actually an 8. It's bad.
Still though, in terms of difficulty levels at this stage, it's good.
Yeah.
But yeah, you can definitely get you can get a good position visually. I think. I think trying to make out the conversation might not be as good without risking exposure, right? The kind of market area versus the food area is separate enough that it would be harder to blend in, and you kind of stand out, Michael.
Mhm. I know, especially
Mm.
considering I'm wearing like. Am I not still wearing my grave mantle at this
It's
point?
yeah. Plus, it's the grave mantle in conclusion with the fact that Hive Market had recently had a crashed Eoxian cruiser.
Yeah.
Right, and I say until recently because obviously it's not an everyday event that happens. So people might be like, "This is a scavengers market. It's clearly going to be high value salvage." And the idea that you're walking around in Eoxian gear might turn heads, even if people wouldn't. They wouldn't risk it because if you've managed to get that and you've not been given it, then well done you, right? So yeah, the to looks definitely your way, but yeah, you can definitely get a good position to get like an eye on them, and yeah, it's clearly Query, and it's clearly Zig. I think by the time you see them, they're obviously back sat talking to each other, so
Yeah.
we can cut from you guys and we can go all the way over in the future to Alex. So,
So, Alex, what's he up to in the future?
what is Weird's opening and upon waking thoughts after the anesthetic?
I mean, the brain's pretty quiet, isn't it?
Very, very quiet.
No updates from people.
No. Possibly missed calls and messages, but we'd need to wait until we've RP'd them out to know what you're waiting on in terms of your comm device, because time travel, you know.
But there's no brain linkage.
No.
Um,
Unless later we RP that in the past they went back and included you unconsciously.
yeah, but I wouldn't have been able to consent to it.
I never
Yeah, that's
said.
the consent.
I never said willingly.
I
mean-
think it's willing creatures.
I mean,
Yeah.
Zig also doesn't have time travel powers. I'm just gonna say that. So, here we are.
Actually,
rules.
I have a spell here, and it specifically says turn back time.
Okay. Is it just a Cher song?
That's
It's
song.
also known as magic missile, but that's
Okay.
not the point.
Which is also known as shooting stars. Like,
Shooting stars, that's what I mean. Yeah.
mhm. Anyway, sorry. Weird.
6, 5, 4. I think that's where I got to in the
Yeah.
countdown before going under.
Yeah, with my Do Androids Dream of Electric Sheep reference, yeah. And
Then gets a 1 and it's like, I don't think it's working.
and then Asmakeklik walks up to you and taps you on the side of the head and taps himself on the side of the head and kind of nods with his eyes kind of like, half closed.
Yes.
You hear his wonderful voice in your head saying, "The operation was a success! Ta-da!" And he pulls off the sheet.
I would look down.
I imagine you're probably suspended back to tank-esque style. And the sheet's more like a skirt at that point that he whips off. And
Yep.
yeah, it's just your wonderful mechanized 4X legs,
It's a little creepier than I expected.
Kind of like scratches at his kind of, chin, chitinous chin, and just kind of says, "Satisfied though with the work?"
Yes, I'm just surprised at the emotional attachment I have to. I did not expect that.
I have kept them
these-
in storage, although
No,
I do
no.
not know how useful they will be.
Not to worry. We've severed every other attachment, so
Kind of nods, kind of like, as if like he's still taking mental notes as he's going. And then says, "Are you ready for desuspension?" And then he like walks over to a panel, leaning about to press a button. He kind of like motions above you with the things that are holding you up.
do you think I am, Doctor?
He kind of goes, "We will find out." And then he pushes the button. And then, yeah, the suspension rig lowers you down. Somewhere in between, unfeeling and unceremonious, but not with a thud or anything, just more briskly than, would be helpful to somebody on new legs.
No booming music.
And, yeah, how do you imagine that goes? How easy do you think it would be to acclimatise to, like, the four-way coordination versus the bipedal coordination?
Just imagine there's a moment of two legs coming down to take the weight, and then the other two kind of dangling a little bit and trying to find. Oh no, the weight is supposed to be between front and back legs, not just poised on the front legs with the back legs being an ungainly tail.
Yeah, like the lower center of gravity technically has to shift between four.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so kind of settle back into the back legs. Like, okay,
And we probably see the
Yeah,
front legs looking for like somewhere between purpose and purchase, right? As they
yes,
settle eventually. Maybe there's even that, settling the back two, leaning on the front two instead, and then like sides, dealing with them in pairs, and then eventually actually just, settling onto all four as we hear the very
Yeah.
quiet pneumatics.
try moving both right legs, both left legs.
Mhm.
But no, that's ungainly.
And as McCacklick says, the
The room
second, sorry, what did you say?
as it then slowly starts stepping around the room.
Yeah, and I think like you'll find that the room's probably like, you've been moved into a room that's clearly got some space, right? It's not huge, but it's got some space that he's clearly cleared so that you can like, move around in. It says, "I was unsure as to the coordination calibration required with a fully biological patient. I would have expected significant physical rehabilitation. As for the android in you, I was unsure. This is a first for me."
This isn't the first set of limbs I've adjusted to.
Again, that weird noise that comes across as laughter, that kind of weird clicking noise seems to do, and then obviously the transmission telepathically of humour I enjoyed, and then just kind of like nodding understandingly. It says, "Because of the arms."
Yes,
And kind of like, shrugs his arms. It says,
you may have slower development with other people.
"So I am seeing and cataloguing,"
Do
as he's typing on his datapad.
you believe you could replicate this then?
This specifically, replication would have variation.
Yes, of course.
He nods. He goes, "Then yes." Predicting the replication, not always possible.
Perhaps in a cleaner office.
I think it says predicting the variation, not the replication, sorry. It's just my brain not working. Predicting the variation, not always possible. With funding, yes. Better facilities. Agreed. More attractive to prospective recipients.
Perhaps mobile facilities would be best, given the specialist nature of this.
Yeah. Does that clicky laugh again? He says, somewhat bias, I believe you to be. As he chuckles at your new mobility. And says, but yes, being able to travel to new client base is very good for business. It opens up all avenues.
Yes. Imagine Verces and Triaxis will have more interest in this than Hackathon could afford.
He says something like this, versus best cybernetics in system. We would find business difficult there. Budget options we would have to.
It's a good place to learn, though.
Yes, if we required staff, disgruntled employees we could scoop up.
Yes, and second-hand equipment.
Yes. Cleaner than Hackathon.
Could get a cleaner.
He kind of chuckles again. Whether or not it's obvious he got the joke or not is irrelevant to the part where he knows that's where humor goes. So, yeah. And then he just kind of nods. And he says, you are pleased with work, payment has been made, and future projects look bright.
Here's about facility.
Facilities required, yes. The staffing. Issues with staffing? He just looks at you, gets the question.
We should have no issues acquiring staff.
We have receptionist.
Is he willing to travel?
Nothing here.
True.
Kind of nods.
I will discuss these matters with the Queen. Strikes me she could be a potential business partner.
Former patient.
Yes, and owner of a large yacht.
Mobile. And he's kind of like looking off to the side like he's contemplating all this now.
Luxurious.
Attractive. Clean. Acceptable. Kind of nods. Good luck with your appeasement.
We have developed something of an understanding since she was treated.
Yes, very good patient, that one.
Because she was unconscious.
Yes.
I imagine that helps.
Yes. And kind of nods again and says, This is good. It's almost like he's convincing himself like he needs to leave, right? Like you can tell he's maybe grown attached to the fact that, he just likes helping people. He's he likes being utilized best, right? Because he enjoys, like, anytime you've spoke to him in the brief time you've really dealt with Nazmakek, like he has been like, let's see what happens, let's give this a go, and I'm up for trying. And I mean, not that Lyco's told you much about his interactions with him, but like from what we've seen, it's always been, well, let's find out, shall we? Attitude.
Shockingly, Lyco has not been too forthcoming about it.
Yeah, I'm shook by this.
Well, this is a good way for Nazmakek to see lots of other new things.
Yeah. Because it's not like he was an expert in Barai, he would just happen to have a Barai patient that, was of his being, Lyco. But yeah, plus, mostly it's just the idea of he knows he was helping people that needed help here, I think. And that's maybe just the tone that you're picking up on. Because it wasn't exactly wealthy people that came to him. And considering the prices that he charges here, it's nothing. compared to what like actual medical facilities would charge for like coverage. So yeah, he's definitely doing what he can for as little as he can while still trying to make something to actually run the place. Like, maybe even get the impression that Morty's doing this because he had nothing, and Asmakeklik clearly isn't paying him much, if anything. So they're kind of just doing it because they're, well, I would say skilled, but that's Nesmakeklik is that side of the skill, and Morty is also there. So yeah, he kind of nods and goes, I'll say to you, when you are ready to depart, you will let me know how long until relocation.
Yes, of course.
Kind of nods.
Take some time to adjust to these first.
Yes,
Of course.
please take time. I would recommend not going too close to Central Daza until fully adjusted.
Try not to anyway.
The coating, and he kind of like walks up and kind of just taps them. Will not protect you from radiation. Kind of nods. Basically saying you'll need a suit that actually fits, unless you're going to find a way to radiation proof them. Gives you like a heads up in that way.
Do you have tools for me to adjust my equipment here?
No. However, make list. Morty will get.
Yes. I will spend some time adjusting my suit then. Accommodate these enhancements.
He kind of like nods and goes, make list. Morty will get.
Yes.
And he kind of just gives you the equivalent of like a really pleased with his work smile that a Shrine can manage without saying anything, and then just like taps on his datapad and just leaves the room, leaves you to it. So yeah, and obviously we'll let you just have make your list up for Morty, even if it includes like, you know, more plating from places. We can obviously arrange like people bringing other things from other ships if need be as well.
Be sure to check it twice.
Yes, to make sure that Morty hasn't fleeced anything from it. So there is that. But that's just me wanting to checkpoint you actually participating in this session in some way. I cannot wait for the adventures of Nazma Keklik and the Butcher Squad.
Kaisu shiver with participation.
Yes. But yes, meanwhile, back over at, was it Noodle Stand 48?
Something like that.
Yeah, so 2 weeks ago, Noodle Stand 48, we've got Zig finishing his Minecom with a Lyco, and then Query returning with a Space Cola. Space Cola 7 is probably what it's called. Because...
Last of it.
And yeah. That's he sits down and he goes, I didn't know what you liked here, and this seems okay, so.
Thanks. So, query.
He looks at you, and I'm not going to say yes, Beyonce.
I'm wondering, how did you get off the ship? How did you get away?
He kind of just
You know,
looks at you
from
like
Baba.
confused, like he doesn't. Goes, oh, yeah, the cops.
Yes.
They seemed really busy. So I just left. He kind of looks at you suspiciously.
Okay.
How
You
did you?
just
How did you
walked
get
out.
off the ship?
I mean, did we just leave? We just left, didn't we?
You just left through a.
We had permission, and
We got permission to leave and then left.
Huh.
So wait, when did you escape then? Were you? I know everyone was looking for you, and then
Yeah, they didn't find me. Takes a big drag on his cigarette. and then blows out the vapor. And he says, "Is it really that interesting how I got here?" And he looks at you like, there is like a look of like, is this actually the conversation we're having? Not in like a disbelief way, just in a kind of, he's shocked it's of interest.
Yeah. Well, yeah, because we did spend a considerable amount of time thinking of escape options, and
Oh, that's nice. Was I included in any of them? And he takes another drag as he like gives you cheeky looking eyebrows.
I'm trying to think if any of the ones that involve getting query out were in character or not.
I think
Absolutely.
a lot of the ones that weren't in character specifically were killing him. But
Okay, yeah. So, in character, yes, yes, but I guess you were gone. Did you leave before? How? When did you get off?
he smiles and goes, "When did you?"
I think Zig will just say when he got off.
Yeah, and he goes, "Huh." Do you tell him how, though? An escape pod, Cal. Just FYI.
It was an escape pod, but I'm deciding whether or not to tell him that.
Cool.
No, I'm just saying. Yeah, Babak gave us permission to leave.
Huh. Because your ship had already left. Takes a drag.
The captain took the ship. Yes,
Oh, yeah, where does he's an admiral now?
Admiral, Captain, Admiral.
Admiral Cap.
And,
It's hard to adjust to all these new changes, you know.
he laughs and looks around and goes, "Yeah, you're telling me." Like he cracks like his neck, and then like like flicks his shoulders back, and you hear them like click, and he just kind of like settles back down after exhaling, and then just says, "Well, I was on the ship, I got off the ship. The minutia between is a." He looks at you and he says, "Kind of boring, all things considered. Yeah, everybody seemed really, really concerned and okay at the same time with the wrong things. Super worried about me and super okay with Narakis. Huh.
Hmm.
He kind of looks at you.
Until-
He looks at you and he says, "What is she here?"
Did you have a
Bitches, but
Narakis in your? Did you have a Narakis in your?
He looks at you and he smiles and goes, "Do you know, I keep goddamn forgetting that you're not mine." And he like puts his e-cig out and takes another one out because it's clearly run out of charge and or flavour. Takes another one out and starts drawing on it. He's like, "You don't smoke either. It's so strange. So many
Oh,
things."
he's from the grittier, dark, edgy reboot universe.
Reboot. Beep, beep. But yes, he like I think he says that as he was looking like he was probably going to offer you one, but doesn't, right?
Yeah. I think. I guess there is no harm in telling him who MO is, considering everyone knows who MO is. She's the CEO of Aspis. You have an Aspis where you come from?
The Aspis Consortium, where I come from.
Indeed.
Yeah.
Yes.
Weapons manufacturing.
Mm-hmm.
Seems like some things do stay the same. And he kind of like takes a slurp of his Space Cola 7 and sits down and goes, "Yeah, I take it back, it's pretty awful, actually." He looks at the can as if it's somehow offended him.
I guess Zig takes his first sip of it because he's been.
Yeah. It's just
I
kind
think
of.
he's just been holding it, like even just like I don't know if they open it at the thing or not, but if
They probably do. It's one of those places,
Yeah.
right? Yeah.
So he's just kind of been holding it, and then he like maybe remembers that he's holding it, and he takes a sip.
And yeah, like I mean, I don't know how you feel about Space Cola 7. Does Zig like it? Does he not?
Yeah, it's all right.
You know, 2. 2 is all right. Okay, I'll know that for future reference.
It's probably tastes like cola that tastes a bit like Dr. Pepper.
Seems
Okay,
better
it's
than
pretty
Cola.
good. But it's like it's not quite Dr Pepper.
But it's really, really unnecessarily sugary. Right, and that's maybe
Okay.
clearly what's put this guy off.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't think Zig minds it. He goes, oh, okay.
I kind of like, he's doing that thing where he's like trying to like almost like go, and he's like, everything here is so goddamn sweet. And he kind of like takes another draw on his e-cig to almost like, you know, get rid of the taste.
Mm.
And then he kind of looks at you again and goes, so, 1, 2, and 3. 1's fine, 2's unknown, and 3's a problem. So, let me help.
And
It's probably
what
at
can
this
you
point.
offer?
It's probably at this point, Lyco, that you're maybe in place now as well. You know,
Oh,
give or
okay.
take.
And
Secret Agent Man.
what are you bringing to the table? I think he'll say.
Says, well, I brought you a disgusting drink. He laughs.
That's true. It's not that disgusting. Okay. Passable.
Noted. I asked, what do you need? How can I help you? You've been very light on the details.
Well, forgive me if I don't, fully trust you as of yet.
He shrugs and goes, what's trust?
Maybe you don't hurt me?
He laughs because it makes no sense. And then
That's a completely valid reference in universe.
yeah, in his universe, it's actually a very catchy #1 song sang by their Mr. Blobby. But yeah. God, that'd be terrifying. But anyway.
God.
And again, it says, you've been light on the details. But as I said, let me know how I can help. I'll see what I can do. The schedule will be ramping up soon, so we should do what we can. And as for you trusting me, give me something to do. He gives you like just this look, and then he kind of like, you know, hides most of his face with his hand in his cigarette.
What, how did it all go down in your time?
He kind of laughs again, and then goes to like pick up the can, and then just goes to pick it up, or picks it up, sorry, puts it to his lips and stops and goes, no, sits it back down, as if he was going to drink and then decided better. And he says, well, the idea is not to do that again, so let's not talk about that, shall we? It's still quite sore.
Yeah, but it would be easier to not do it if we knew what it was.
Well, if I tell you what I did and didn't do, then you're closer to doing it than if I don't say anything. And he looks at you. You know?
And at what point would you intervene if things were going the same way?
Did the big guy tell you what happened in the office with Narakis?
Oh, I don't know. Did he?
I mean, he did, right? Like, Weird
Okay.
did say that he did say that, didn't you? Weird, like, you walked into the room and says, Query tore off her head, right? I'm sure.
Oh, yeah.
I think you just said it
Okay,
as so
yeah,
matter-of-factly
that's
as possible. Yeah. You're like,
Yeah.
I think Lyko was like,
That's right.
figuratively, right? Figuratively.
Yes, that's right. Yeah, I think he would just be like, mentioned it, yep.
He goes,
But it wasn't her, was it? Or was it? And she came back from being, and then he'd like kind of scratch the side of his neck.
and like he flinches in a way, right? Or like he kind of like sits his hand on the table and kind of like stops himself. and then he looks at you and gives you another look, similar to the one before, and then he says, "Did she though?" And he gives you like a cheeky look.
Well, saw her after the fact, or at least what seemed to be her after the fact.
Ah. So she's come back before. And he looks at you.
Well, she did have a diner dropped on her head. That was
Not specifically her head.
well. I mean, like
Inclusive of her head.
Uh-huh.
she was standing up, right?
It's probably yeah. It's fair.
Yeah. He just gives you like a confused look. He goes, huh. She managed that.
So who knows? Although I think she was slightly different then, or she's slightly different now, or she was slightly different in your interrogation,
What's different?
questioning.
And he looks at you.
And then Zig's going to do his best, and it's probably not going to be a very good description of blood versus crystallized black, weird,
Mhm.
classy stuff.
Mhm.
He'd probably just say it like that. Well, one is crystallized, weird, black, glassy stuff, and the other was bloody. I think you know which one you dealt with.
He kind of looks to the side if he's really kind of like taking in detail and thinking.
I think Weird mentioned. I'm not
Um,
saying that like out of.
I think most people involved in the diner seen the, and yeah, I think he did mention a lot of blood.
Yeah, okay, that's fine.
In the
Yeah.
description, but like most of you saw the. I think Zora's the only person that didn't see like the black glassy shards, because I think everybody else was involved in the diner moment. Because like, you were involved in the diner moment, or were you at the storage facility?
I saw the after. Yeah, I saw the aftermath. So I did actually go. Remember, I went into the ruins.
Yeah, I was gonna say
alongside-
because Zig and Ivan
Went
in
in.
as well, and
Yeah.
then you followed in. Yeah, cool. Because I was trying to remember exactly who was
I
involved.
think I was with. Was Alice still there? at
So
the
Alice
time?
and we or Nix at the time
been
were the two
inside to
in the
begin
diner.
with?
Yes.
Yeah.
Because they were trying to get
At the
information
time,
about
yeah.
Ivan initially.
And I seem to recall them still being about when I went in to perhaps recover MO or find out what had
Yeah.
happened to her.
Just kind of lying there in
was
kind of
what-
glassy bits. So yeah, I think most of you, except Zora, could say that you have seen the glassy fragments, I guess, of her.
Cool.
And then that's a bit different to the bloody mess that was the horror scene in the interview room with Query and Weird. So, yeah, he's got like a weirdly just familiar nature about him, right? Like he's acting like he's our best buds already.
Yeah,
Really.
I think that might like be lulling Zig into a weird like sense of security.
Mhm.
Maybe that sort of feeling where he's kind of like a bit more complacent and feels he is leading the conversation, maybe even though he might not, like probably isn't.
Lyko, do me a perception and a sense motive.
I will.
And we'll see how.
Zig is evil.
Percepzione and sense motif.
Perfect. Thank you for rolling well enough for me to say this. When Zig went to scratch his neck, he went to scratch Zig's neck for him. He stopped himself. And you can tell that based on like the way that you've got this side-on view of their table.
Right. Does it seem to me like he's reading his mind?
No. It seems very familial.
Okay.
It seems more like, when you just know a person well enough. And I know that's a bit
Okay.
iffy in a sci-fi setting where a lot of mind reading has happened. But yeah, it definitely just seems like Query seems super familiar with Zig. And obviously, Zig isn't exactly cold shouldering this guy, right?
Yeah.
Which I think it's true, Cal. Is that right? Like,
No, yeah.
You're just like, am I in danger and do I need to decide between fight and flight or can I finish my noodles? Like, I feel like that's the
And I
impression
think
got.
Zig's kind of settled on. He's going to finish his noodles anyway,
Mhm.
and then he can deal with the fight or flight
Yeah.
stuff later.
So yeah, I think you're getting the. They seem chummy, Lyco, is I guess what I'm saying, and Query seems really chummy.
Yeah.
Definitely a way more than Zig is, obviously. But that's what you're likely to pick up. But as for like
Yeah.
anything else, I'd say you've maybe caught gists of conversations or topics, maybe, but not necessarily details. Because again, like trying to pick up anything,
Sure.
maybe some of this is a combination of trying to listen and lip read. But it isn't easy from where you are. You need to expose yourself more to get.
Yeah. Probably
Audio.
can't risk anything.
Yeah. But it's weird that, like, as I said, that's one of the stranger things, that he definitely seems to have been like about to help Zig scratch his own neck when Zig was doing his nervous "I'll scratch at my neck."
So it definitely seems like him and his Zig were close.
Yeah, definitely vibes
Oh
of
my
that.
god. Start shipping it now, kids. Okay. I will observe, not intervene. That doesn't seem too concerning.
Yeah, cool. And yeah, we'll stick with the Zig and Kuri show for now. What is the revelation
think-
you reveal to him regarding how you can help?
Oh man. I'm unsure. I'm actually unsure. Does anyone have any idea of how Query can help? Or not help, but how
I
Zig
mean, we
would
don't really know what his capabilities are and
ripping
how
people's
much he
heads off.
knows. Yeah.
is
I think the problem with this is Zig hasn't really got a clue what Query's talking about. Query
Mhm.
doesn't necessarily know what Zig's talking about either. And Zig then needs to say, how can you do something that I can trust you with based on the fact that we didn't know who you were before and now we still don't know who you are? And also, how did you get here? Right? There's a lot of unknowns, and he's dodged as many questions as I can possibly manage to dodge. And ultimately, what is within the scope of Zig's, influence sphere, and will help the party, I guess, right? Like, what could you set
Hang on,
Query
let
to
me
do?
consult the goals page.
Because let's face it, you've got a potential NPC,
Oh, yeah.
right? He doesn't seem to be
What?
actively hostile, which is a good thing.
Yeah. I'm reluctant to get him too involved with getting access to Thanida's vault to see
Hmm.
about the egg.
Agreed.
Um,
Seems an unnecessarily complication. An unnecessary, not unnecessarily. That makes no sense. What about... I was going to see
I
you
don't
can
know.
maybe
Like, I
foster
think
more
he's
MOs.
got knowledge of how his universe ended, supposedly. Um,
I did say that was painful.
yes. Does he maybe have? I'm just thinking out loud here.
That's fine, yeah.
Does he maybe have like? Okay, he doesn't seem to know who MO is, but maybe the CEO of their Aspis consortium is that version of MO or
Wait,
something.
I thought he very much seemed to know who she was. Sorry, am I confused?
No, I think he, good
He
point.
doesn't know who she is here.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he said
He
that.
knows of her.
Yeah, I
And
think
he knows what that is.
the implication would be if he says, what is this one like? That would imply he has a one to compare her to, right? So, I think that's enough that Zig could put together easy, yeah. And considering there's been multiple Zigs, I guess that would be easy for Zig to put together.
Yeah.
What could he be useful for in terms of our current objectives? Don't necessarily want him with his Eox. I don't know how sensible it would bring him along, considering he's an unknown quantity. It might pay to have someone to sort of investigate. I don't know, the Vesk that's an outsider that couldn't be tied easily to us, but maybe he could now if the Vesk are sharing information among themselves. You know, for instance, is
Didn't
the thingy.
didn't
sharing
Zora say
Mogesh.
to Demogesh, "Can you help out with a
Did
guy
ask
called
him. No,
Query?"
yeah, that's a good point.
So in terms of unknown entities, it depends how successful Demogesh is in investigating that, right?
Sure.
But that's obviously how much you know of that. I don't know if Zora told you out and out that they were going to do that. I can't remember, but obviously Nico will answer that for us if and when we need to. So it's something that Zig could maybe think about regardless. But yeah, it'd be an interesting one because we don't know if that's going to be a problem or not, because he might just have nothing on him based on what we know about Query, which is nothing.
What about involving him in something to do with the eggs, if you think we can trust him?
Again, I don't like him. Callum doesn't like him at all. I don't want him anywhere near my eggs.
That's fair.
And obviously he doesn't want to talk too much about his universe dying, which I guess is fair.
I think so.
I don't know. I'm afraid I really don't know.
Maybe. Okay, right. I think he'll just kind of, because he doesn't know how Query can help, and he's like, stick around for a bit. Would you?
Oh my god. No, sorry.
Oh
Continue.
no, carry on.
No, I'm not going to intervene at this point because I don't
Okay.
think it's relevant to your particular situation. But I just had an idea how we can use him, and I'll go into it in a minute. But
that's fine. Stick around, but would you be willing to tell me what Zig was to you? I mean, you're Zig, not me Zig, obviously. I'm just me.
Roll diplomacy.
Oh God. What's my diploma called?
Yes, folks, that is a skill in this game. We just...
Ha!
What's the diplomancy?
Yeah, diplomancy.
Diplodocus?
Diplomancer!
Well, I mean, considering that is the best you could possibly roll, that's alright, you know? He kind of looks at you.
This is genuinely like...
Mm-hmm.
I don't think it's like Zig trying to get him to slip up and reveal information about his universe. He's actually genuinely curious as to...
Sincerity, Zig.
I think because he's got like differences in his own universe in his mind. I think he's quite interested in like how different can be.
Mm-hmm. And he gives you a look when you ask him that again, and like for a Lyco observing, he like tenses right up, right? Like as if Zig has said something that's changed the tone of their conversation. And he's kind of like he's not got eye contact anymore. He's kind of like looking down at his space collissive, and he stares at it for like a good maybe 30 seconds, and there's 40 seconds of just silence. He looks back up and he says, "That was a different time, unfortunately. The ties I had no longer apply. We adapt and we move forward. There is no going back."
All I can think is, did he just kill Zig? Is that one? He murdered Zig? That's the story I don't want. Okay. I think Zig would stand up, kind of walk over to the other side and like of the table, not of the,
Mm-hmm.
and kind of look at Query and kind of I take it seems like there's like some form of like regret or like in his tone or upset or
I mean, yeah, you even need to do a wee sense motive for that. It's just sad.
yeah. And he says, I'm gonna run a few errands, meet back at the shuttle thing, the public transport, the bus.
Hmm.
And I think he'd like sit like in like an hour or
Hmm.
and if you're there, I guess trust you enough. And he just kind of like pats him on the shoulder, or tries to. I don't know. Maybe pats him on the back. I guess because he's probably
Yeah, and I think
higher up.
he says, huh, where else am I going to be? And he says, well, see you when I see you.
Zig nods, and then he walks off with like no direction to go.
Mhm. Just away.
He's like, he's like, this is a situation I'm like, I'm now very uncomfortable. I'm leaving.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, Lyko.
I thought
What
about it.
model
I thought
of,
about it.
What model of Nyx does he look like again?
It
He
looks
looks like a sort of older, more
yeah, it's like
wiry but
it-
femme version of.
it's like Nyx 4. I think I said last time.
Okay,
Like
I have an idea, but because you asked Colin rather than ask Lyko, I couldn't offer it, and it wouldn't have been
mm,
really the moment for it. But okay, I have use of someone who could pass for next 4.
oh dear.
You know where I'm going with this, right?
Yes. Yes, I do.
Okay. So for the time being, I'll just continue tailing him.
I think I'm fully on board with I think what you mean now. Okay. Interesting. Very interesting. And also, why the hell not? So, yeah, so you have now seen that Zig's wandered off, and you can probably tell easily that Zig has just left that conversation to Zig leave that conversation, right? It's not like Zig had anything else to do that you're aware of, other than kill time, because he's very good at that. So, yeah. I also thought it was a very poignant moment there, Zig, not to do the wrap-up chat here or anything, but it's not like we can go back, is it? ... All Zig's done. Let's go back.
Yep. Over and over again.
It's like
I'm
actually,
curious.
funnily you should say that. We can go back several times actually.
Idea of Zig
Well,
that
from my
smokes
point of view.
is weird to me.
The idea of what? Sorry.
A Zig that smokes.
Mm. Are we chain smoking rat? No. Because he can light his own cigarettes. Because he's the sun. Creates small solar entity. Singes most of cigarette. It's not efficient, but it looks cool. Yeah. So, do you go and intercept Zig? Is my question.
I do not.
Okay. What's the plan?
I continue to follow Yuri.
He doesn't move. He's sat there.
He doesn't move.
No.
And then I'll observe him for a while.
Yeah, and I think he goes up and orders food, right, at some point. Like, he probably sits for a good, 15 minutes until he's clearly, keeping an eye on the tables around him, kind of casually. He walks up and, body checks somebody and lifts their comm at one point.
Okay.
And then goes back to the table and then just, checks out the comm and you can clearly see he's fidgeting with it, and then goes up and orders food at that point because he realizes that if he sits there for any longer, you could probably imagine that it would look weird to not actually have food at that point, since table space is probably finite, so you need to pay. So beyond that, like, yeah, he doesn't seem like he has anywhere to go, I think's the vibe, right? Like, he just doesn't go anywhere. And then how long would you watch him for, I think's the better question.
I think it'd be a while, because
Mhm.
Lyko doesn't really have anything he needs to do, and he's not expected back for a while.
Exactly. You've got like hours to kill.
So,
Yeah.
I'd probably like sitting there with a milkshake if I had enough credits left, but I don't think I do.
You
Like,
probably,
out of
you probably could, like,
narratively, I've asked the captain to advance me a few.
or you could just have traded
I don't know.
something, right? You could have traded something for it. Like, it is a marketplace. So yeah, you could have
Yeah,
traded something that
Probably good
you know,
bits and bobs.
and just to be different, we'll have purple milk. So yeah, and it's a flavor. We don't need to know what. It's just a flavor. And yeah, I think maybe watch him for like 2 or 3 hours, right?
Yeah.
And like, then he seems to like look around as if he can't really justify sitting there any longer, right? Gets up, like, goes up, and then like looks around. He's like fidgeting with a comm in one hand, as if is he looking for the person he body checked, right? But obviously maybe it's been hours and he hasn't realised how much time has passed. And then he just shrugs, pockets it, and then heads off, and then like just looks around the market. So like you can have like, you know, followed him for a bit through the market. He just seems to be looking at knickknacks and various other things, and like he buys a gun, just a gun, standard deal, you know, pistol. Nothing fancy, just something that was cheap. And that's it, really. That's about it. He uses that comm that he obviously took to pay for it. In the sense that he's clearly using that as his like ID chip.
Yeah.
And then yeah, like he just does the thing where he slots in the back of his, you know, suit trousers, and it makes sense because most people in the hive market are likely armed in some way. Most people in Akaton are likely armed in some way.
Got a sniper rifle. It folds up. It's quite discreet.
Do you though? I don't think you've got any of your weapons.
Don't? Oh no, the captain does, don't they?
Yeah, they're all in the final hour.
Oh, it's fine. I'm always
I
armed.
was gonna say you are a weapon, with your blades up your arms. So yeah, and
Yeah, I'm not too worried about that.
Yeah, you shouldn't be. But yeah, same with Zig. Obviously, Zig is a weapon and has no weapons on him. And yeah, like you just see him like clearly just trying to fill his time, as if he's like waiting. Obviously, for narrative purposes, the time he is killing is going to sync up perfectly. I know that Zig said in an hour or so, but we're going to make sure that the time that he is wasting and killing is going to sync up perfectly with when Zig said be at Space Bus.
Yeah. He just said an hour to say a number, but that
yeah,
you
give a like rough time slot to appear at.
I think he'd probably give more than an hour because he expects Lyko back way later based on how long it took them to get.
Like you could have said like, you know, tomorrow at whatever, right?
Yeah,
because that's probably more realistic given Lyko's time frame he's working with. So besides that, yeah, if you just want to follow and potter about with him, Lyko, you can. If you want to like interact with him, you can. It's up to you, but he doesn't seem to be doing anything of note. He just seems to literally be like filling his time.
I will continue watching him, and I will communicate with Zig.
Okay.
Mentally.
Well, that'll be at the end of the couple hours, right?
Yeah, probably.
Cool. Because if it was earlier, I'll let you do it now. If it was later, get Zig stuff to do first. So, Zig, you wander off from the meeting some 3 hours ago, and here we are in the present again, and you pull out your comm, I guess.
Yep.
Cool.
I think he's just got it on speed dial.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Considering the past year, it's probably the most.
Yeah, star 66. Yeah, I get you.
Yeah.
And like there's a please stand by while we connect you tone. And then it's just an inbox essentially, like a voicemail.
I guess he'll leave a message just like, oh man, like he'll just say, hope everything's okay. Like to know roughly where you are. And Query seems to be more Edgar than before.
Okay, gonna send that. Yeah.
And yeah, the Mice King. He's not going to say that, but I think he thinks
It's
it.
like
And
types it then deletes it. Yeah, like
yeah,
even though you're speaking, but it's fine.
the equivalent of a verbal mouse emoji. That's
just coughs and it sounds like a squeak. To be honest, because you are like a mouse.
And then I think he like gets like just kind of wanders around and maybe gets like a bite to eat, and even though he's just had noodles, but that was like nervous noodles, and now he wants comfort food. And then I guess he's gonna try and find somewhere to kind of like a hotel room or something,
Okay.
just to kind of chill out in, away from everyone.
The only place that really has like somewhere to stay that isn't just sleeping in the streets of Hive Market would be the like Grinning Durwa's bar. Would have had sleeping cots available, because pretty much anything institutionalized here is probably run by Grinning Durwa.
Yeah, makes sense. Yeah, he'd probably just go anyway, and
Rent yourself a cot.
rent himself a wee cot just to kind of, instead of like passing the time, just resting.
Yeah.
Trying to go over in his mind like who is Query really, and whether how he actually feels about it, because it is slightly concerning, and also.
Okay, so time passes on your cot, right? We're foregoing the scene where Grinning Durwa was in the background. You hear the laugh, but nobody sees him physically because we didn't pay for the actor. And Christopher Judge was unavailable for this episode, and chuckles away back, and your comm goes, and it gives you an option to swipe left for Lyco or right for the person you sent the voicemail to. They're both calling at the same time.
Oh. I will go right.
Okay. Lyco,
I can brain Lyco later.
You go to calm Zig, and you get cut off after like 2 rings, just FYI. And we go back to Zig. So, Zig. I was like, what was the message about? You had me worried.
No.
What do you mean, like
don't
Edgar?
Be worried. Well, his mannerisms are very similar, and he's seems to be familiar in the same way. That makes sense?
No, it doesn't make sense.
Okay.
Most of what you've said to me for the last year doesn't make sense.
True. Sorry. But yeah, he's it's just weird, and he's asking me about how plans are going, and yeah, I'm not overly comfortable.
Why am I getting word that there was an incident aboard the can before the storm?
Was that the? That's the.
That's the name of Babak ship.
Yeah. Well.
The My
so,
Immortal in our fan canon. Um,
Yeah. I think Zig would just go through basically what happened without like as briefly as possibly as briefly as Zig could possibly do
Mhm.
it.
Yeah.
So essentially, weird query
Oof.
escaped by, well, supposedly ripping Emma-O's head off, but Emma-O wasn't really affected by this. And yeah, he's now on Akaton in Hive Market, and yeah, he found me without any bother.
I think
Had a wee chat.
you can clearly tell you'd lost her after you mentioned that it didn't really seem to bother her. Is the phrase
Yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah. That's
And she says,
that's expected.
and she's like muttering away to herself, saying, "That would make sense because we did get reports that she died in Castroval years ago."
Zig is going to take a mental note of that.
Yeah, and
I
she
think Zig's going to take a mental note in the capacity that it's like he's taking a mental note, but he probably leaks it out to Lyko. Wait, Emma who died in Castrovel years ago?
yeah. So I think Lyko, you get hit with that instead of just staring at your
Yeah.
comm and it's been hung up on. And yeah. Do you reply to that, Lyko? Because I feel like you could reply more quicker than I can as a person.
I wait. I
Yeah.
wait, actually.
And then we go back to this person replying, "Sorry, so she's still alive."
Or what seems to be her is still alive. He has a habit of not dying.
Oh. Yeah. I know what that feels like now.
This time, however, there was a lot of blood, according to Weird. Whereas before she was black, crystally glassy stuff.
And like again, as if like not really paying attention. She goes, "So my memories are messed up. I'm assuming this is because of you."
Oh, have you got memories?
A lot of it doesn't make sense.
Of the
Overlapping.
before times of how you died and
We
your
were
bodies
of how we
in
were traveling to
the
the
vault.
sun and then we didn't make it to the sun, or you didn't make it to the sun. We in fact appeared in front of the final hour. Somehow.
Aha, okay,
but
so you remember.
I remember that, but I also remember you coming to me and telling me about all this.
Okay, so you have both realities in your mind.
I didn't sign up for
Good.
this.
Good. You can identify the discrepancies.
You hear the blink, even though you can't see the blink.
Yeah.
It screams.
Yeah. Because I have a lot going on right now. I'm not going to lie here, Zig. The idea of another universe encroaching on this one, that is not good.
Okay, right. Sorry, I don't mean to bother you too much. But I felt it was
She says,
important
"Is that a
you...
tone? Are we doing tones now?"
It's about as Tony as I can get, so I
And
thought I'd try it on. Anyway, like I just thought you should know about.
"You're not as cute as Tonight thinks you are."
Tonight I think I'm cute.
That's not the point.
Oh. Okay. Yeah. I just thought you should know. Like
I appreciate the heads up.
Edgar-y.
I'm
Yeah.
following a lead of my own at the moment. I will let you know as soon as it becomes useful. Keep me in the loop though.
On it.
And it just disconnects.
And he kind of like, I guess, kind of just sighs and stares at his com, and maybe that's when he sort of sees the, you've got a missed call from Lyko, like, oh crap, and then he just kind of, brain speak Lyko. Oh, Lyko, sorry, I had another call.
So who told you she was dead? Or had died?
Wait, what?
Emma.
Oh, Emma. Oh, right. Okay. Yes.
That's a very good line, Emma. Oh,
Wasn't it?
I enjoyed that.
um. We'll go. Right. Yes. So don't panic. Isabel's okay. It's all good. So, yeah, no, she said something about Emma dying ages ago on Castrovel after her not dying, um, to getting her head ripped off. Oh man, lots of
Okay.
stuff happening. Um, yeah. So Query's a bit. I don't know how to place him.
Where are you?
I'm in room 48 at the.
Is this just gonna be like
No,
Star
yeah, you
Trek's
just tell him
number
exactly where he
47
is.
bullshit, where
I
everything's number
was gonna say, are you
47?
gonna lie to like him?
You probably can't mathematically now, right? The way the
I
dice
mean,
work.
there is a chance that is true. Because you say, you
I
sort of
don't
get like
think so.
a moment's pause, and then like it would be like you probably just long enough that you would expect some sort of reply,
hmm
and then you'd hear back like, "Is the proprietor around?"
Um, I think Zig's just in his like he's just alone at this point, isn't he?
Yeah, you basically have
Yeah.
like a cot and a hostel.
Yeah. That's fine. And he's like, no, I'm alone currently.
Yeah, but did you see him in the building? Is he is he present?
I can't say I paid too much attention. My mind was on other things.
Okay.
I
You
can.
how'd you feel about speaking to a gang lord?
Well, considering I spend a lot of time speaking to queens and people who've part of the end of their own universes and uh
Okay,
you
point taken. Hey, what was that last one? It, I would like to think I am a lot more down to earth than earth metaphorically speaking. That doesn't make sense. Yeah.
Down to Galarian?
Anyway, how would you feel about Do you want to see what he's capable of? Because I do. Query, that is.
Oh, okay. I thought you were talking about the gang lord at this point. I mean, it would be nice to know firsthand
The
what he can do and how far he'll go.
the sleazeball whose establishment you're currently staying in has a score to settle with a friend of ours.
Oh,
Friend of ours he hasn't seen in quite a few years. You get what I'm meaning?
oh, the Junkrats theme plays in the background.
Mhm.
We have a dead ringer for a previous model of Nyx wandering around Hive Mark.
Oh, okay. Well, he's going to meet me at the shuttle at insert time here.
X 100 hours, yes.
Yep.
Yes.
It's your call, kid. I'm not gonna
It
make
would
this
be a
decision.
good test. He was asking how he could help.
If you find Durwa, do you want to let know, or do you want to watch this play out and see? Query that is. I mean,
Let's let Query come to him and let's see what happens.
I'm still following crew at this point, I take it.
Yeah.
And I respond I respond to that, you know what? Stay put. That can be arranged.
Okay.
And if you can advise Mr. Durwa to expect Nick's 4, I think. That might not go amiss.
Okay. And Zig would just start walking
Well,
out of his little like dorm.
So for clarity, I'm sure it was Nix 5 that actually worked with the junk rats. Is that not
Oh,
right?
it's 5, okay.
It was 5.
Yeah,
Five.
but like
five
four, I was gonna say,
before he got his
Like-
exit
I might
coordinates.
just
yeah.
stick
So
with
like,
Nix
but
and not
4
give
and
a number.
5 are visually not a million miles away. Like by
Enough
comparison,
that he could.
by comparison to the 6th, yes, they are much closer.
And yeah. Okay.
Woohoo.
Just check.
I guess Zig would go
Red
down
Sky.
and he would
Thank you, Wither
inquire.
King.
Oh, lost you there.
I just mostly thanked the person that followed. Thank you.
Oh, thanks.
Mm.
Oh, I see it now. I am. Yeah, Ziggle heads down to like whatever and try the reception or whatever and
The bar, yeah.
inquire
It's
the reception, the bar, and inquire about bringing Daryl.
Yeah, and the kind of droid-looking thing, kind of robot behind the bar, just kind of looks down at you, and then just like it's like manipulator just points up to the back end of the bar where you just hear the laughing and the cloud of smoke coming from it, and you just hear the deep Christopher Judge chuckling coming up from the back end of it with like clearly that's the crowd there.
Cool. Zig nods and heads on over.
Yeah, and then like you've got the two big show bad bouncers. I forget their names, but I'm sure they had names.
We did, I think.
Yep.
Go bad and go bad.
Yeah, and he just kind of nods at them and like tries to just kind of walk past them as if he belongs.
And one of them looks at you and waves, and another one looks at him, shakes his head. And he leans down, and he says, "Whoa!" And he puts his, one of his big 4 arms up. He's like, "In a rush, small friend?"
I have some valuable information for. I was going to say patron, he's not a patron, but for Mr. Derwa. And Zig would grin.
Okay. He looks at you up and down. He goes, "What's so valuable about, it's okay." He looks at you like he's never heard the idea of that before.
It's rare, but just because I am what I am doesn't mean I'm the same as the garbage that is on the street.
And the other one that had waved at you, like, just picks you up, because these are like large creatures. These things. Very big guys. And it just picks you up by like the scruff of your neck and just looks at you. And then just smiles.
And actually, Wither King makes a great point. I wish I stuffed a bunch of my flavors in my cheek pouches now and I could just set them off, but I
just
didn't.
spit them at him. Firework breath.
But yeah, I would just say, does Zig know about the junk rats? Did Nick/Weird actually mention them, or?
Yeah, that was discussed.
Cool. He would say, I have news on the whereabouts of one of the old junk rats.
And then he's just staring at you, smiling, and he just like sits you down at the other side of like their line, as it were, and just kind of pats you on the back and pushes you on and smiles at you. And the other one, the grumpier one, it questioned you and stopped you. Was like, make it quick.
Yes, sir. And like like politely bows. And then heads on over to, I guess, the table that they're at.
Yeah, it's pretty much like the big central table at the back, big booth style thing. And there's just, again, a cloud of smoke obscuring everyone's face because we haven't cast all these hangers on yet. So they're all obscured. And the only person actually sitting down with, like, the man-spreading vibes of a god, just chuckling away at everything that's being said and other people muttering that incoherent noise. And yeah, he goes, "Little one, what have you brought me?"
Information.
"I don't know you, little one."
No. But it's no surprise that I know you.
He just chuckles away and he goes, "Ah, I see." That's it. That's all he says while chuckling.
I happen to have someone who is currently leading a certain member of the Junkrats to this very establishment, sir.
Assuming this works.
And then he just stops laughing. And he leans forward, and everybody that's like, in their cloud of smoke obscurity just stops as well and looks at you. If there had been someone playing on the old, piano, it would have stopped as well, but there is no piano here, so that luckily doesn't happen.
My piano's off. I was gonna. Gutted.
Yep, there we go.
Boy.
Things we could have done. We'll do it in post. And he goes, "Oh, Brianna, Kalashni, or 2+2." And he tilts his kind of glass at you, as if asking a question.
Help.
He's asking which one.
Yes, I know. He says, well, he goes by Nix.
And all the murmuring starts again around. It's just somebody in a speeder nearby, obviously the bar, because the bar is fairly open air, and he's just like, again, because he's got his mouth covered, it's quite a hard thing to see his facial expressions. But he leans in and he goes, "You have information on Nix. Do not toy with me, young one."
I think he'd like pull up like a seat if there's a spare one.
It's like a big booth, so he's the only one sitting.
Okay, yeah.
Everybody else is stood outside the booth as if not welcome to sit.
He would go and kind of just sit at the very edge of it.
Maybe get some dirty looks from those people we haven't cast yet.
Yeah, that's fine. That's fair.
I mean, don't we all want to know if the Ahsoka is chatting up a giant? It's a Kasathan he's speaking to. Grinning Durwa is a Kasathan. Played by Teal'c's actor Christopher Judge. Why not?
So yeah, as I could just say, I've happened to learn a decent amount about Nix. He's quite ambiguous.
He is quite skilled, in my experience. It was a shame to lose access to that skill.
I can imagine.
No, you can't, little one.
Oh?
And like, all that sense of joy is kind of gone from him, right? He's definitely like in a, man-scorned way.
Uh-huh.
Because I think if you cast your mind back, when I asked Alex, like, how did you and Durwa leave it? And he was like, bitter. Good. That was the best response. So yeah. You kind of like, you can definitely tell that him and Nix ain't on good terms. And maybe this is Zig thinking, did Lycos hit me up?
Yeah, yeah.
A gift. These
Um,
two droids. C-3PO delivering the message. Wait a minute. I'm one of those two.
and yeah, and I think probably at this point Zig's kind of like, if that fight or flight butterfly is coming in, how long can you keep this like brave bravado in front of this gangster lord? But he does. He scooches like into the booth a little closer and says, "Well, I think he'll like mind speak to Lyko, saying ETA on our fake nicks."
That
Or-
depends on how I'm doing.
well, let's skip to you, right? So while he was doing all that and looking for a grinning Dorwell, let's flash back to you ending the brain column with, Zig. So Lyko,
Yeah.
for purposes of our audience with their king, who is a former human, now Barai, ex-space cop extraordinaire.
Yes.
Coast to
And
coast.
a real lad, just a dude. So being that I'm watching Query, I'll just sort of gradually approach him,
Sure, yeah.
whatever he might happen to be doing at the moment.
Yeah, it just seems to be looking through clearly like salvaged ship components, right? Like it just seems to be either parts of like spaceships or vehicles or like a whole bunch of components that have kind of went above Lyco's head. Stuff that you've probably arrested people for selling in the past,
Okay.
illegal salvage nonsense, right?
Fair enough. I'll not just run up to him or anything. I'll sort of approach him at a sort of steady, slow walk. Just sort of, you'll probably just be next to him suddenly, or at least it'll seem that way as I sort of meander through the crowds. Not going out my way to be sneaky. I'm just casually, sort of wandering at a natural pace.
Mm-hmm.
And as I get close enough to him, I will. Yeah. In fact, you know what he will do? He'll clear his throat.
And
He'll go,
and I think instead of turning around, there's just the hand that goes up and offers you an e-cig from his case of them.
no, thank you.
He kind of turns around and goes, "Can't tell exactly how long you've been following me, but you must have nothing better to do."
I had more time than I expected on my hands.
Lucky you. And he gives you that very loaded tone, right?
I have a question that you might not be particularly eager to answer, but I'm gonna ask it anyway.
He kind of shrugs at that, going, "Eh."
In your universe, how familiar were you with the gang lord Grinning Durwa,
Never heard of him.
if there was such a person?
Yeah. Just shakes his head and goes, "Never heard of him."
Okay. May have to do some improvising then.
Yeah, he laughs and he goes, "Uh-huh, I'm sure I'll manage."
If you're willing.
And he kind of raises an
Gonna
eyebrow and he
manage.
goes, "Spoke to Zig."
Spoke to Zig? Yeah.
Okay. Not a fan of MO
You-
either then.
So is he reading me? Am I
Yeah.
not a fan of him?
Yeah, because
I-
from his line, right, he's thought, well, you've obviously spoke to Zig. You then came to find me, because Zig said where you left me. And then, obviously, he's still going on the, well, you've got a job for me to do, so obviously Zig didn't have anything for me to do, so you've found something for me to do. And
Yeah,
clearly,
okay,
if you're on
listen.
board, you don't like MO either. So, that's his line of thought that, as a detective, you could work out.
My interaction with her has been extremely limited, but I don't like what she represents. Willing to take their I'd be willing to take their cash. But I've dealt with a lot of people. The particular job that I'm asking of you is It is the potential to get messy, but I'm given to understand that you can handle yourself better than we had previously believed.
He kind of smiles and he says, "Yeah, letting yous believe what yous chose to assume was my way of assimilating. I'm gonna assume the fact that we're having this word with the lack of bullets means that's okay with you, given..." He looks you up and down everything that's happened to you here.
When I first met you in the flesh, I believe I happened to have taken some steps because I was expecting to encounter stewards to make my appearance more palatable. Looks down at himself in his his grey flannel armor, which, for reference to the audience, looks a bit like the Undead Legion set from Dark Souls 3, but sci-fi-ish. And
It's a spooky space poncho. Just leave it at that.
Well, I'm not making any particular efforts to conceal my nature here, so what you will.
He says, "Nor should you."
I won't ask. I won't ask if your Lyco was alive, because I understand that would be rather redundant at this point. But anyway, this individual, he may be of use to us. He's very well informed and very well connected, and just runs this region. And he has a bone to pick with someone you closely resemble.
Ah. Not anymore, though. Right?
Yeah. He doesn't know that, as far as I'm aware.
So, good past or bad past?
I believe it may have been a business relationship that ended abruptly.
Aren't they all? Bad past, then? So what you're saying
God.
is, you want me to be thrown under the bus, so to speak. What's your ideal outcome in this one, Lyko?
It's a good question. Ideal outcome? He's able to clue me into some of the goings on in this particular planet that I haven't been able to quite work out. Maybe he has some information on the situation in the desert. Yeah. Otherwise, very helpful. Sage hasn't been willing to provide herself. Perhaps he knows a little something about some of the more unsavory individuals we encountered in the arms business.
I'm gonna laugh.
There are a number of things that he might be able to help. And if he can't, well,
So,
have to see.
I give myself up to this Durwa. And then what? You need him alive, it sounds like. So if things go badly, what is expected for this to work? If you follow my thinking. Because...
Yeah, sorry.
It just says, because, you know. He kind of like does that thing with his head where he bobs it left to right as if... You know what just happened.
It's what I would describe as a fishing expedition, frankly. We know he has a lot to offer. It's just a case of what we can get out of it. The bite, probably. There is obviously danger involved. And if it does go south, then... Well, I'm intending to leave this planet soon anyway.
Kind of laughs, just like as if someone's thinking you're a piece of shit, right? But they just laugh like, I can't believe you. And then he kind of just shakes his head and he goes, So, what if I say no? What's next?
If you say no,
Hypothetically, and he kind of shrugs like vaguely, like he's our best friends, right? Like, you know,
I respect that.
will you though? And he takes out like a half step back and he goes, and if I just left this conversation? He looks around, he's like, I don't think either of us are particularly concerned about the collateral around here, but I fancy my chances, let's put it that way. Never mind the gun I know you saw me buy.
I think you misunderstand me. I didn't come here under the intention of forcing you to do anything. Maybe tricking you if I had to.
I can respect that.
But I don't generally go to force as the first option. And I, broadly speaking, try to avoid it unless I am pretty certain I can use it decisively.
I think you know that of me also, given our past, brief as it may have been. My deception was for them, not for you. You understand?
It truly doesn't matter to me.
That's why I like you, Lyko. Pragmatic.
I've been called that.
Lyko?
But
I'd hope
I'm
so.
not-
And he smirks.
I'm not just pragmatic. I don't know, again, you're Lyco, and I don't know how I differ from him, but actually I am a little bit concerned about collateral damage. I wouldn't take a fight in a crowded market if I could avoid it. Even if I thought I would win.
My Lyko, as it were, is a somewhat different. Maybe that's a conversation I can bargain with later.
Maybe. Assuming I want to know, which
It does that thing where he's like taking an inhale of his e-cig, and he kind of like his eyebrows go up and he kind of nods as if, yeah, I guess so. Normally people would know, you know, that vibe of a bear. And he says, so here we are. You, me, you. What incentive?
if you sorry?
What incentive do I have here?
Well, I thought it was pretty obvious. You want us to succeed, right?
He smirks and he goes, I want Zig to succeed, yes.
Well, we have that much in common.
And he smiles and he goes, good.
Personally, I would much prefer that this universe continue to exist, and I think that our current path,
He cuts you off and goes, well, we don't always get what we want, unfortunately.
yeah, I know. That I know. But I think our current path, if I might be so bold, is maybe not entirely a false one. I think we're working towards some things that we need to do, and I think that you would have intervened more dramatically and directly had we gone too far afield. So
How do
I
you
don't
know?
know if
How do you know I'm not
sorry?
scared of the lizard? And he kind of just looks at you like almost a flippant look, right?
Hmm. Captain? Admiral.
Admiral, so I hear.
He is more formidable than his demeanor would lead people to believe.
He kind of
But
chuckles away to himself and says, I'm definitely not undermining a Vesk warrior, that's for sure.
I don't imagine you're gonna let a little thing like fear in with your purpose.
Does actually find it quite a useful tool when employed correctly.
You're here because I understand art wanted you to be brought over. You were in a place to be brought over because you managed to survive the end.
If you call it survival, sure, let's go with that.
I know that you have no particular attachment to this world.
Makes you think that. It's the only one I've got now.
True, but that's sort of what I was gunning for. Might not be your world, but it's a world, and in my personal view, that is a lot preferable. So help us out with what seems like a fool's errand, and God knows, maybe that will provide us something, make this whole damn mess in Akathon worthwhile, and bring us that step closer to succeeding in our looming mission to, well, you know, I think.
He steps that half step closer again. And he goes, "Let's take in our surroundings for a second, Lyko. Look around. Look at these people selling their wares, ill-begotten as they may be. But what you don't see is the bloodstains. These clearly are people who have fought for everything they have had in their lives, and what for? Bunch of scraps handed over by dust-breathing, dare I say, murderers." He kind of looks at you to see if you're following.
Not entirely sure I am.
And then he says, if Lyko isn't following, then he says, "The people here clearly fight for what's theirs. Keep what you kill. You know, the survival of the fittest. This is a wasteland. Survive or die, the definition. And I don't exactly think I want to bank on the charity of this Durwa. I think what I can do is I could just straight up remove Durwa and replace him." And he just looks at you as if, "I have thought up a better plan."
Well, in that case, good thing we have a pre-made ruse to get you close to him.
He laughs and goes, "I find the getting close to people not the issue, it's the distancing, again, that seems to be the tricky part, in my experience."
If this gets messy, you know what? Forget I said it. I'm not too concerned. We have a Zig.
I think he looks at you like he
What
doesn't...
is that supposed
I think
to
that's the
mean?
look that Query gives you. Like, he doesn't follow now.
You don't know what that little guy's capable of, do you?
He goes, "Enlighten me, please."
I seen him practically melt people with basically just wishing it to be so. It's terrifying. Me, I've shot, stabbed, batoned. I've hurt a lot of people, and yeah, quite a lot of them haven't got back up afterwards, but I didn't do that. Not without a very high-powered weapon.
No, you just come back from the dead, that's all.
That wasn't really my trick.
And he looks at
Or
you
one
as,
that was
"Well,
pulled on me.
you wear it well." And he looks you up and down. And that was like said with like no tone, right? Like there was absolutely
Okay.
nothing to that. Like it was very much a case of that was just very matter of fact. You wear it well, as if, is he like not taking that seriously? Because I think he's just saying things for the sake of like filling space, noise wise. You definitely don't get the impression he's trying to like butter you up, right? There's nothing like that. He's just saying it, and he doesn't care how it lands. And he says, "So this Zig isn't afraid of a little blood, then?"
He might be. He's not eager for it, certainly. But he's saved my ass. You know? He is a handyman to have around.
Seems like our universes have more in common than I could have hoped for.
Well, I don't know what that means, but it sounds ominous.
Yes.
Shall we?
Yes, we shall. Now, are you going to watch as I get stripped of my weapons. And he, like, pulls out the gun that he bought, cocks it, it jams, he unjams it, and then puts it back in the back of his trousers. And I think now you're realising he bought it as a prop.
Yeah. Oh yeah. No, that I go with that.
Yeah, it's not subtle. And he's kind
Oh,
of,
well,
I
I
guess,
will also be unarmed.
and he kind of just looks you up and down and goes, "Huh, okay." And he just stares at you longer, like as if he's looking at like your forehead and your cheek and stuff. Because obviously, slightly energy emissions from it, and he's like,
Okay. Yeah. Well.
and he's like, "Sure," and then just walks off, then stops after like passing a stall and goes, "So where is this guy's place?" And then I think we harsh cut over to the 2 weeks later. So
Wow.
weird. I assume you arrange a meeting with Thanaida.
Yes.
Yeah. So you arrange to meet her. I don't know where she'll be at that time point, so we'll just say that however long it took her to get there is how long it took her.
Yep.
And yeah, she says, "Do you want to meet in orbit? Because there's no way she'll ever step foot in that godforsaken piece of shit city ever again."
Yes, I think that's a good idea.
Mm-hmm. And yeah, do you take Nazma Keklik and Morty with you?
Take Nazma Keklik.
Right, okay.
Morty
Aye.
should stay and keep everything clean.
Yes. So, our wonderful Shurin Doctor Nazma Keklik clearly gives like some kind of mini pep talk to Morty before he's leave. And then, yeah, you, I guess, shuttle up to the place. And because I have no idea where the shuttle will be at this point either, or how you're transporting, but you can get there regardless. There's many ways to achieve this. And yeah, you dock with the Azure Flare. Flanai's on there. She's in some kind of badass half cocktail dress, half power suit combo.
Man, that's
Space
what she was
fashion.
going for.
Mhm.
Yeah, that would work with these legs.
Like a fancy armored cocktail dress, yeah.
Yeah.
And
Techno.
yeah, hers is kind of like some kind of asymmetric waistcape affair underneath a power suit. So yeah.
But yeah, I'll
And she looks at you and she kind of like smiles and goes, "I like the look."
thank you. Change.
How religious of you. She just laughs to herself mostly. And then she looks at Asma Keklik and goes, "Doctor." And he just kind of like, almost curtsies, right? In an awkward way. And then looks at you and then looks at her.
I will have got more to pick her up something.
Okay. Oh god.
Whatever the posh noodles are. Chocolates.
Well, do you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to go to random gift generator, right?
Yes.
And we'll see what Morty bought.
Oh lord.
And we'll have it where Nazma Keklik's holding it, because that's funnier. Let's see what we get. Gift ideas generator. Let's see what we got her. Okay, so let's do some. Oh wow, you can pick up a personality, right? So spend. I don't know if I want to pick this. You've got options. What was the price range of this, right? Roughly in human pounds.
50 quid.
Okay.
50 to 100.
Okay. Well, I'll do 60. I'll do 90, right? So I'll do 90 because that's one of the options. 60 or 90 was one of them. Age range 75 plus because we know Thanaida is older than that. That's as high as it goes on this. And personality, we've got sporty fit, creative arty, nature lover, lively bubbly, fashionable, gadget/PC mad, hobbyist, DIY enthusiast, house proud, intellectual, adventurous, hippie spiritual, indoor type, outdoor type.
Yes.
Which
You hippie spiritual.
I don't know. I felt like I just felt like Zig was that one.
Yeah. Where's the arrogance?
Never trust a
Something.
hippie.
Is that creative arty?
sure.
Yeah,
Yeah,
let's.
that kind of it.
I mean, she did make the scythes, so let's see
Yeah.
what we get. Whew. Let's see. What's it generating? For 90 quid budget for an over 75-year-old creative arty person. Oh my
Thousand
god.
Alloway.
Oh, bless
Right,
you.
I'm just going to read a bunch of these, and yes, bless you, Emmeline. So, here are. I'm going to read like a few of these. A rain chain from Etsy. I don't know what that is, but I can imagine. A wind sculpture, which is one of my favourites out of all of these options. An SAD light box, which is possibly the worst thing to buy her. A personalised family tree canvas. An acre of rainforest is also one of my favourites here. An indoor water feature, a herd of goats, which is a third world oxfam.org.uk product. Animals for third world families, a foot massager, a Moroccan lantern, a mood light, an aromatherapy kit, crystals. Yeah.
I like the idea of the foot massager.
Yeah.
We bought you a.
Yeah. One of those little foot spa things.
We know how much you like baths. Will go well on the bridge.
Oh dear. We know Etsy's a shop. We know.
Etsy is a kind of horse that's only found in the Iberian Peninsula. It's not. I'm lying.
As per the start of the session, you were banned
I
from
love how
Go.
you had to clarify that you were lying there.
Yeah, because it's because new people
Yeah,
don't know him
right.
that well. That's
I
why.
have done that. I have done that in work and said shit like that, and people went, "Wow, really?" So
Yeah, you gotta be careful with those powers. They get us in trouble.
Yeah.
You'll believe us.
As I said, I was
I
asked.
can deadpan. I just choose not.
I think
to.
that's a TOS issue.
I was asked in two different places of work if my vivid red hair was my natural hair color twice, unironically,
Wow.
in two different places of work. And I'm like, don't say the first dickish thing that comes into your head, Ryan. Don't say it. Don't say it. Just say no. And then obviously you can imagine what happened. So we're not going for the wind sculpture. We're going for the foot massager. Yeah.
Yes, absolutely.
Perfect. That was my favorite random generator I think we've ever done, and yeah. So I think Nazmakeklik, when he's looking between the two nervously, steps forward, and like chirps away stuff in Sharon to her, and she seems to be making some chirps back. And he just looks like somebody who's made his day. Again nods,
Can an elf chirp?
nods multiple
Important
times.
question.
It seems to be. And she smiles and then opens it. She goes, "It is a bath for my feet."
Yes. You enjoy baths.
I had servants that did this. This will be a nice reminder.
Yes. Glad you like it.
She smiles. She says, "Best not to tell Zig, in case he has ghost nightmares again." Kind of nods.
I'm sorry. Oh, no,
I forgot about that conversation. Oh dear.
Yeah, the things in my brain that rattle around, honestly, terrifying. So, she goes, "I didn't get you anything."
Well, we were hoping that there was something we could negotiate. We have a business proposition.
Then we shall discuss business in the lounge.
Of course.
So you got where the jazz bar was, and it's now like this kind of fancy, possibly over-couched room. And she says, "Do you like what I've done with the place?" And it just seems like a catalogue for the modern like high life,
Looking much, much better.
She just
Did
smiles
you-
and she goes, "Thank you."
What did you do with the drinks droid?
That has been repaired since you adjusted it. Good old Cecil. Do you wish a drink? Social lubrication is usually suggested. Yes. What would you like to drink? As you fucking centaur your way in here, because you're a fucking four-legged android.
Thinking back to how many different types of beer and wine they've got.
I think, I can't remember, wasn't there like 81 types of wine, but like only like 8 types of tea or something stupid like that? Like,
Yes.
it was something
In
ridiculous.
But I shall ask for an Acatonian chai.
And she says, we don't stock anything native to Akaton on board.
Same.
She goes, not really. Preference.
There are some fine things on Akaton.
Yes, but you've left it for the time being to discuss business, I hear. And she looks at both of you and smiles, and obviously, like, as best as a Shrin can blush, he does.
We'll have what you're having.
She smiles and she says, excellent choice. And then she like dials it up on the coffee table between you, and then out pop, you know, just probably champagne, like really inappropriate celebratory champagne, and they've got like umbrellas in them. She goes, I like the umbrellas.
Yes, they are cute.
And then she takes the umbrella out, sticks it in her hair, sips champagne. As McKechler just kind of looks at it and then looks at you and looks at her and then looks at it. Just holds it.
I will say cheers in Shirin.
Yeah, and I guess everybody else repeats the cheers in Shirin. And they'll kind of nod to each other. So, how can I help?
As you can see, we are making moves into the cybernetics sector. Bodily enhancement.
Are you the catalogue?
Well, I thought it's best to appreciate rigors, the procedures.
Yes, first-hand experience is often better than being well read on a subject.
Never get tattooed by a person without tattoos.
Mm.
Yes.
Oh, she said that as I typed.
You wouldn't download a tattoo.
Oh my god! Wow,
Yes.
I really wasn't even looking at that screen. I don't know who did it first. Oh, Callum.
I think you
that's
said it
same
before I hit
wavelength.
enter, so.
Oof. Well, now you both have to die. But anyway, so.
No! No!
It's you who will die.
Oh dear.
Sorry, I'm derailing.
I mean, we've all derailed tonight. It's fine. And she goes, "So, where do I come in? I don't intend to lose limbs if I can help it."
Oh, of course. We were hoping that we might set up a mobile base of operations, given that we expect our clientele to be across the sector. And quite frankly, we would rather be investing our resources in materials and equipment. Thought that you would be willing to offer up some space on your yacht
I
to
see.
act as a clinic.
You wish patients to come on board.
Yes.
She thinks for like a good 10 seconds. She goes, and my place within this business?
You would be actually the owner of the clinic and a significant shareholder.
Some kind of cyber queen, then.
Of course, whatever title you wish for.
Interesting.
Nazma Heklik will be the chief medical officer.
Of course, I trust him with my life.
I intend to take the role of the chief technical officer.
She kind of nods and she goes, well, I assume this is regarding money.
there will be money. Yes. And if there is financial assistance available for startup costs, appreciate it. We would not be so presumptive.
I will fund the entire startup for 51%.
Look over to Nazma Geklik.
Asbel just nods profusely.
We have a deal.
He goes, excellent. We already have champagne. She just smiles and downs the rest of her drink. Anything else you want to say to her, or are we cutting away from there?
We'd start drinking champagne.
Jazz music obviously plays celebratory jazz music.
Interestingly enough, it's Jerry Rafferty. It's not something jazz, but I just wanted to say that.
I know you did. So yeah, I mean, I think we just we fade away on the Azure flare, and we cut back to, you know, the slightly low key music that starts playing as it's got the interior shot of Grinning Durwa's open air bar, and I assume Zig, you're still chilling out at Grinning Durwa's, or did you move on?
Yeah, no, I think we figured out on Zig asking for an ETA on.
Yeah,
on,
so let's go back.
Pretend Nicks.
Yeah, let's go back to Lyko, who will now get the brain com of ETA, right?
Cool.
So we'll go back to you for that. So I forgot you were waiting on that, Zig. Sorry.
Yeah. So did I. I would say like, how far are we? Like,
I wrote it down because that's
whatever it is, I see the appropriate distance.
Yeah, you're not far away. Like maybe like
Yeah.
40 minutes away. Yeah.
Be with you soon, and you know, I'll say to him, try and look uncomfortable when we get there.
He kind of just laughs and he looks himself up and down in like his, corporal look that he's got. And he's like, this is new. And he just like tears the shoulder of it. So like the stitching's burst, and then he like leans down, picks up like a handful of like the dust, and then just like rubs it over him. And he's like, he just kind of coughs once. He goes, "What do you think?"
I mean, yeah, like they're not going to expect them to be like completely destroyed, are they? Like, I think looking like there might have been a minor scuffle should be fine. So
yeah, and it does definitely look like he's been. You've knocked him to the ground and he's tore his like suit. That's what it looks like. It doesn't look like he's been dragged through the desert.
Yeah, well, I could sort of nod his approval.
And he stops and he goes, takes the gun out again and he goes, "So, if you're taking me in, it doesn't really make sense I have this. You should probably carry it."
It's true.
He hands you like the really shitty pistol.
I'll stick it in like one of various pouches, and should I? Yeah, you know what? Yeah, because I'll just hand it over to him. Just go over and it's like, yeah, that's. He doesn't know that. Neither do you know. Never mind. It's not worth explaining right this second. I'm not actually
let's walk into a gangster's hideout and like not explain things. Great plan, Lyko.
When I said I was unarmed, I was being facetious.
He goes, "So, that's fine. I'm going to assume you have a plan. I'm going to assume it's a good one. You've stayed alive this long. That's impressive. So, let's just go with it." He just looks at you like,
I liked your plan, and I think I can work with it.
Good.
I will very much appear to be unarmed until I.
Good. This guy, muscle? Is he the muscle? Is there muscle? Are we the muscle? I'm like,
Wait, this guy? What did he mean by this guy? Sorry.
Durwa.
All right, there was a boss. I don't know how much of a fighter he is, but he has muscle. Or
Hmm. Right. Okay. Interesting.
there will be a lot of hangers on that might
Do we care about them?
not especially.
Noted. Let's go. And then he kind of walks off.
Yep.
And yeah, like we cut to the part where like, so it's like, did you just stay sitting with Durwa then, talking nervously with him for like the next 40 minutes?
just making like nervous, like trying to make idle conversation with
Mhm,
with a gangster.
mhm, mhm.
Sitting down where he probably shouldn't be sitting because everyone else is
Yeah.
standing up, and just probably overstaying his welcome like quite a bit.
He's probably got you a massive mug of beer.
Zig is definitely attempting to work his way through it.
Mhm. It tastes like crap, but it's wet and somewhat sweet, so yeah.
Yeah. And it's something that gives him an excuse to not talk. Like if his mouth's full of beer, he doesn't have to say anything. So that's kind of, he's happy to have that.
I think you've noticed as well, and it's maybe one of those things you notice when you try and think back to, oh, did he just say something I missed? He has managed to say a lot of things without saying anything, right? Like Durwa has said like nothing in the last like 40 minutes, but everybody's laughing with him. And it's almost like an art form of just speaking and having nothing of value. Like it's not even like small talk, it's almost like, oh, he's looking at me, everybody's paused, they've laughed, they've stopped. What did I miss? Wait, I missed nothing. What? Why is everybody laughing again? Yeah, it's very much you can probably tell these people are like, let's laugh and make sure he feels great because holy fuck, he might just kill us one day.
Definitely.
Yeah.
I think Zig's probably thinking to himself, how does someone like that get into a position like this?
Yeah. And yeah, I think like the doors, like the nice Western style flaps of the door, which I like to imagine are just in a frame next to open space, because I say it's pretty much open air downstairs, and walk in, and I guess like, do you push Query through the doors gently, as if encouraging him?
Yeah, behind him, sort of.
Yeah.
Encourage him through. Make him look.
Are you holding like the pistol just to look as if this guy is in some kind of duress in some way, or?
You know what? No, I'll have the pistol pocketed, and
you can just sit in one of your holsters because you've got like 3 holsters minimum.
As I get to the door, was it? Did he put rounds into it?
What? Sorry.
Were there rounds in it? Was it loaded?
That's a very good question. Have you checked it?
I think Leica would have checked.
Yeah, it probably does have like I don't know, somewhere like maybe 7 shots in it. Yeah. Definitely not a full clip.
Yeah, no, I'll just keep it on myself unless security tries to take it off me, in which case I'll hand it over.
Yes, like you like walk in, you kind of push them through like the flaps of the doors, and then Claire just says, "Durwa, you grinning idiot!" And just kind of screams that up the back. And I think the familiar voice hits your ears, Zig, as your Query being kind of like pushed through the door by Lykel, and obviously he looks like he's been roughed up a bit.
I think Zig maybe stands up on the seat and goes, "Here we go."
And then Durwa says, "Ah, little one, it seems like you were telling the truth," and just chuckles away.
Would I lie to you?
He says he stands up and just pats you on the head to the part where like it's like heavy and you feel like you're being like pushed into the seat. And he goes, "We shall."
I think he'll just sit down with it, like he'll just go with the force.
And like he says while he's patting you, he goes, "We shall see," like in a kind of horrible, menacing way. And he steps forward, chuckling away to himself, like kind of like dispersing the crowd a bit.
Zig's gonna follow him as well, like.
Like he's only literally at the end of so you're right next to him because he's at the end of the booth.
Okay, yeah. Cool.
And he's staring, and he's like, as I said, these 4 arms are helping like keeping everybody else like away from him as he like then folds, 2 of them go on his hips and the other 2 go across his chest. And he's just chuckling away, that big deep chuckle he's got, and he says, Nix, I see you've got some colour about you. You were ever so pale before, then chuckling away to himself. And you, I forgot your name. Well done.
I head over to the bar, casually position myself there.
The robot automatically like slides over to your position in the bar and then like, makes some chirps implying, what do you want?
It's the beer.
And it just like sprays beer into a receptacle. And then
Take it.
yeah, and it probably looks as good as it sounded to the way I described it.
Yeah.
And where it goes. After all this time, all this running, he kind of like falls to his knees. It's just been nice to rest, finally. He just starts sobbing.
I hadn't expected that.
This is new.
And grinning Durwa just kind of goes, "It seems you've broken him, Quint. You will be
I
paid
think
less
he came pre-broken.
for this." He says, "You'll be paid less for this," as you say, I think he came pre-broken.
Hmm.
And then he walks between those two showbad, as if he's like coming down from the raised up back part of the bar. And he heads down towards the main part in front of the bar where he's like kneeling and sobbing. And says, "You wanted my help, Quint? This is payment. Well done. Seems you are useful. I did not expect the Isoki to be roped in as well. It's good to see someone has found a use for them."
What did they?
Okay. Zig's not happy. But he's gonna mask it, he's gonna hide
Yeah.
it.
You just hear like a bottle drop or something in the background, and it's Zig.
Let me check my spells list.
Yeah. I encountered an arms dealer recently. Before we move on to other business, wonder if you know anything about him. Manny?
He kind of chuckles. He says, "Himani the Black."
That sounds like the one.
He says, "I have not had dealings with such fork-tongued lizards." And he just chuckles away, as if finding whatever reference he's made hilarious.
Yeah, just sort of nodding as if nodding as if to say, yeah, that's wise. Oh, you wouldn't want to deal with those dragons.
And he's looking down at Query. It's just like kind of sobbing and like almost like not quite fetal, right? Because he's not on his side, but like he's heading that way, right? And Durwa turns to you and he says, "Was it with the dragon you found him?"
No, the dragon. I don't know what he was up to. He was working through a middleman, big, flabby guy. This one has just been. I don't know where he's been. Wandering around, possibly running from the law.
He kind of nods. He goes, "No matter. Your running days are over." And then Durwa just, with a mighty stomp, breaks one of Query's legs.
Wow.
Just like all of his weight, just, massive jump as if, he was enjoying it, right? Like he put a lot of energy into that. And you just hear the crunch of like, something between bone and metal.
Ooh.
And you see Query like flinch right out of the clearly fake sobbing into an actual scream of like pain that he kind of grips the ground at. And you see the scratch marks on like the scuffed floor from like his hand, like where he's just clawed the floor in pain. As he like winces half of his torso away, as like this leg is, broken. Let's say it's his left leg, so I'm held to something later. And he kind of chuckles and he goes, "Your price, Quint?" And he kind of like motions towards you as if, "How can I help you now?"
Okay, meta. What does it?
Uh. Damn.
Get some more noodles.
What's the play here? Do I just mind thrust our way out of here and run?
That's a good question. Okay, like strategically, I did not expect necessarily that he would be capable of that. Right? I mean, breaking a leg is not always the easiest thing, especially when it's like a seemingly very strong android, like. So,
Don't worry, we can replace his legs.
Yeah,
yeah, sure.
That's fine. We've got that covered.
it's the least you could do in 2 weeks' time.
It's definitely required at this point. So,
Worry not, Query. In 2 weeks' time, we will have your replacement.
what do I?
Yeah. Any suggestions then, Alex, for the boys that are in the Durwa situation?
I just don't think you should have got in this situation.
It wasn't well advised, no.
Sorry,
But
do
I
you
saw
want
an
to
opportunity and I couldn't help myself.
I quite liked the
Actually-
plan. I thought the plan was good. It's not what I actually thought. See, when earlier I thought I thought you were doing. I'll talk to you about the end about what I thought you were going to do.
I had no idea what he was going to do.
As soon as he'd said enough for me, like as soon as Lyko said enough, that I realized, oh, it's not what I thought. Okay, but anyway. So yeah, what's the
How
plan,
much do you
Lyko?
care about getting Query out of there?
I mean, yeah, right.
Life bubble, it's fine.
You can't just life bubble the game's problems away, Callum. I know you want to.
Yes, I can, and I will.
This is.
Mm.
And if he dies, I'll reincarnate him. It's all good.
Oh, why are we worrying then?
Unless I burn all my spells trying to kill Grinning Durla.
It's a very generous
How?
we that was, Alex, isn't it? How?
How much do we think we could? Right. What do you think would be an appropriate answer? Like, you know, if Lyko were to respond with something, you know, probably not monetary value, but how valuable is this to him? You know, how much do I think?
Right, so Alex, how much did you piss off? Grinning Durwa, I think's kind of what Colin's asking.
Well, we essentially stole his salvage and then, I imagine, drove it into his Porsche.
Okay.
Plus, then there's been the years of bitterness in between, right? Because it's been,
Yes.
was it 5 years ago? I think this was, right? Something like that.
At least.
Yeah, like it was at least 5 years ago, so it was probably not a million miles away from the time, like when obviously like you and Lyko actually got shenanigans. It was probably,
Yeah.
didn't we say it was probably directly after? Like you'd
Yes,
done,
this was the precipitating
Yeah.
incident for
You
buggering
le-
off.
yeah, and then you left, and then that's when you went to the Lyko. So yeah, it was about 5 or 6 years ago, as far as my timeline knowledge is. Timelines, what are those for? Absolutely nothing. So,
See, I kind of need to. I need to try and come up with something to ask him that is short term enough that there can be some
A
immediacy to it.
moon!
I don't know that you can provide a moon, unfortunately.
We should have banked. We should have got that moon.
This is when you realise Jabba the Hutt was all muscle, right? This is that moment, and you go, oh, fuck.
Yeah.
And that if he trained to become a Jedi, he'd have been the best Jedi.
He could have been worshipped as a god on a random planet nobody cared about. You're right. Whatever the Hutt you were. I forget your name.
Durba.
Was it?
I think it was Durba, wasn't it?
I can't remember.
Durba. Hutt?
Also,
I don't know,
yes,
I get
and
my Hutts mixed up.
for Wither King, yes, there is a Hutt that had the Force and went to a planet and made himself a god there. And I think...
And was super agile.
Oh, who broke his leg? Sorry. There we go. So, Grinning Durwa broke Query's leg. Query, who kind of looks a bit like Nyx 4/5. Nyx 4/5 is the android that preceded Weird, who is Alex. And Nyx 5 screwed over Grinning Durwa.
Accidentally.
It's like, path of least resistance. What profits Me the mo. Okay, done. Bye, Grinning Durwa. Bye, your Junkrats.
He was a
Bye.
teenager.
Mhm.
But what teenager hasn't driven a salvage ship into a gangster's Porsche?
Yeah. Other speeders may be available.
I think the simple answer is what's it worth? You know, what's he worth to you? Sort of thing.
100,000 credits.
So I think that's probably what.
Yeah, like
answers.
it's at least a number, right?
I think he's visibly a little taken aback by the sudden
Mhm.
display of violence. Like I don't think he'd
Mm.
even attempt to hide that because it's a very natural and appropriate reaction.
Mhm.
He'd be like, what's he worth to you?
He kind of laughs. Well, it seems like I broke him more, so less and less by the moment. And he chuckles away to his own jokes, you know.
Oh well, okay. In that case,
Mhm.
overhearing this,
Hmm?
I'll say, don't worry, and I'll cast the Mystic Cure on him.
Excuse me.
Can that cure broken legs?
As you go to cast, the showbad come over and stop you from casting because they don't know what you're gonna do.
Oh,
And
I'm
then,
just gonna heal him up so I can break him again.
and then Durwa just laughs and goes, "I like your spirit, little one. You will go far in this business. Perhaps you will be the next grinning Durwa." And he just chuckles away to himself. You must work on the laugh, though. And he chuckles again. His big, deep, booming chuckle.
I suppose I'll walk towards him, still with my beer,
Mhm.
appearing non-threatening as possible, and we didn't discuss terms beforehand. Maybe that was my mistake.
You were being tested to see if you were capable. This was my test. There were no mistakes made. You are capable. This is respected. He looks down. He just looks down and just chuckles again at his handiwork. He puts one arm, one hand, pats you on the shoulder, over familiarly, and he says, "You're a strange one, Quint. Come from nowhere. To achieve the impossible. Are you to vanish to the nowhere after we exchange niceties, or are you sticking around to be useful?" He kind of leans in when he says that.
Oh, I wouldn't say I'm vanishing to nowhere, but I will have to take another leave of absence from this planet.
Okay, a shame. I have use of someone with your skills. And efficiency. Looks down again.
I'm not leaving this second.
Okay, nods. Yes, but yes, to conclude this matter. He kind of does a open hand gesture to you. That was open hand and open palm merged as one word.
Yeah. Open ham, yep.
Open hand. As if implying, what do you want?
Still don't know exactly what other than lots of money.
And just ask for money?
Well, a lot of money wouldn't go amiss.
He just massive bellows of laughter. And he just pats you on the back, and then one of his hands kind of pulls you in for more of an embraced hug at one side, and he lets go, and there's distance again between the two of you briefly. The way two people would celebrate a very successful goal that was unexpected at a football match, but then remembering their horrible fragile masculinity doesn't allow them to be familial. So that type of hug exchanges, and he goes, "I will make sure that your credit balance is suitably compensated for this gift. You have brought a smile to my face. It is not easy for grinning Durwa." And he chuckles away to himself. I think we just end. I think we just end on him like the eyes showing how much he's grinning beneath his like face covering that hides his Kasathan mouth, in that really kind of sinister, creepy way, and then you get like a, you know, a request to accept an incoming proximity transfer on your comm.
I accept.
Yeah. Can you roll me a d20?
Certainly. Second tabs out. 1d20 roll. 19.
Nice. You get 190,000.
190,000 is quite a lot.
Yeah.
You've got more money
right.
than me.
Finally.
And as I said, we just end on his like creepy grin. Yeah, you can maybe see now why people don't fuck with grinning Durwa. So
I have underestimated them.
yeah. So yeah, what are we calling this session?
I think Nervous Noodles is a great name, personally. I'm voting for it. I put it in SF roll call. Ignore that. That's not canon.
Terms of service.
How do we get out of this one? Because I think I feel genuinely bad
let's
for him.
name
Life
sessions
bubble
first.
irradiate
Sessions
away.
first. Session titles first.
Right, sorry. Session title first.
I really like this one. Just services rendered.
Grinning Giant.
Because it kind of covers what the three of you got up to. But yeah, Nervous Noodles is also good, and the Grinning Giants isn't bad. Not bad at all, or show bad. So So to review what happened this session, we had Query being familiar with Zig, and then saying how can I help you achieve what you need to achieve, and then Zig having a phone conversation with clearly Isabel, and Lyko tracking Query, then using Query as bait for Durwa, and then in 2 weeks' time we know some of the stuff that happens with with Weird, as he gets into business with Thanaida, of all people. If MD goes back and watches that wonderful episode where you just hear me and Alex shout at each other in character for a bit, which is one of my favourite moments. Yeah, man. What a great session. And
that was intense.
yeah, it was good. But yeah, that in itself, oof. That when you see then the relationship you and Thanaida had then to this, business deal.
I'd
good.
like to thank Isabel for this development.
I mean, yeah, right. And
It's given me someone else to dislike.
Yeah, it's good. So yeah, the session titles. It seems we have one vote for one of the two suggestions. Any other suggestions for session titles?
I'm looking at the wrong thingy. I was like, I can't see them anywhere. Blah.
Or are you looking in the non-canon channel also?
I'm looking in the roll call channel.
Same. I was. Many have made that mistake.
A vote for each now. What else we got going on, guys? Alright, so weird vote somewhere, and then we'll settle it. What's it going to be? I think I just like the reason why I like rendered is because it's so visceral given what happened to Limbs this week.
Yeah, but this one has noodles in it.
It does have noodles, and I assumed that's where your vote was going to go because it's always noodles that win. Although poor Mike's nudes, right? He didn't get any business this week, but
Mike and
he's had a difficult time during lockdown.
yeah, and also he's a bit TOS risky, so.
Yeah.
Nervous Noodles, there we go. Goals. Let's have a review of those. So Zora weirdly didn't meet after Yox, strangely.
Come on.
And the Grinning Giants in honour of the Wither King. And Lyko did not.
I give Grinning Giants a vote. Don't you worry.
Good. And Retrieve Cinderella's Election 7. Nope. However, weird.
Yes.
You haven't quite established it yet, I'd say, but you've done pretty much everything up until the part where you have an actual business. I just feel like we need to do a couple of rolls to see how well things go. But I feel like that can definitely come up at some point next week.
Oh, yes.
And or whenever we're on again. And Zig, you haven't spoke to Thnaida.
I have not spoke to Thanaida.
In fact, Weird spoke to Thnaida.
Yes.
Just
Hoping you'd do my quest for me, but oh well.
damn. We didn't speak with the Kivalari crew on Versus. We haven't prepared and embarked for Yox yet. Do you think you'd have gained useful query info? And if so, what?
Arguably. We seem to have gained some more insight into his relationships in the other world, and we seem to have some idea of his limitations. I don't know how useful it is, but it's something.
What are the thoughts then as a group? Because that's kind of the
I don't think
qualifier,
it's
right?
completed.
Cool.
Yeah.
What about the MO information?
We learned that she died ages ago. But I don't know. I don't know how useful that is.
Oh, I mean, rumored that she died, right?
Yeah.
Depends. If that's not useful, then nope, I would say that's not complete either. Obviously, we've not got valuable objects from Yox yet, because Yox is still yet to happen. So, yeah, this is going to be... I think... I can't wait to hear Nico's thoughts when you tell him what happened.
I might just have to get him to bombard.
It's like, remember that particle cannon? Can you just fire it at my comm? And also, can you buy me a new comm? Bye. Oh dear. It's good.
Nah, I've got a perfect plan. It's fine.
Do you?
Yeah.
Okay.
We stick query in a life bubble and we irradiate the place and bolt.
How confident are you that you can kill a bar full of baddies with?
Okay. Well, first off, irradiation will be fine. We'll irradiate first. I'll mind thrust like
Right,
a couple of them and then we'll bolt.
We'll pause the wrap-up chat until we've done. Are any of the goals changing?
Oh, yes. Kill Grinning Darwa.
I mean, if that's what you want your goal to be, you might have more luck doing that than speaking to Thanaida at the rate we're going at.
I don't know. What do people feel about killing Grinning Darwa?
I mean,
How
pretty
bad
happy
of
with
an
the
idea is
idea.
that?
Yeah,
Because I've already got the money off him.
Yeah.
Well, you've already delivered the package, right? So, of course you got the money.
you should kill him to death.
I just don't know how we can do that, because he seems pretty imposing and he's got two big scary show bads, and who knows
Tried tearing
what
his
the
head off.
patrons of the bar do. What?
Have you tried tearing his head off?
Well, I was kind of hoping we might do something to that effect.
I mean, I can fly.
How much can you carry?
In his pouch.
I in my cheek pouches, probably not queer.
Can you cast enlarge? Can you cast enlarge on yourself, then put query in your cheek pouch, and then fly away?
But that would be a good idea.
Like
Let
some
me
kind
know
of
when we level up next.
some kind of Isoki blimp. Also, yeah. Are there any goals changing? Come on, guys. Talk me through it. Okay. Zig, Weird, any goals changing?
No, I'm keeping mine.
Yep,
yep. Close.
Any general goals changing though? Remember, you still have general goals too.
It might be worth moving one of them to put in a, winning Durwa goal.
Yeah.
But what goal do you think we should push back?
Well, let's face it, we're not going to have query if we leave him with Grinning Durwa. So gaining useful query info is
Info gained. Breakable.
if anything, it's complete. Not as useful as we thought.
That's a yo-yo spectrum, that one, isn't it? You know, what a useless guy. Wow, maybe he duped all of us. Wow, he really didn't kill him as much as we hoped, like at all. Yep, definitely an up and down on the old query scale. But yeah, it's not a bad point. It just depends if you think you're going to go and speak with the Kivalari crew next week.
Well, like to, but who knows if we'll get the opportunity.
Are you
'Cause I
gonna-
don't want to abandon him because I think at this point I don't really want to let him die.
No. I mean, retrieve valuable objects from Eox. I feel like once we get to Eox, there is quite a bit of stuff that may go down.
Well, shelf the one you want and then put in another goal. Do so now, please. I feel like you've got the Query Avenue and the MO Avenue in terms of exploring. If you aren't going to do that next week, then
Right, how much could we actually do about the MO? Maybe, it's just possible, maybe he has some information. Maybe Grinning Durwa could tell us something and then we could do him in. Or try to. Or come back at a later date with a full crew and our weapons.
A big cannon.
you could always ask him to try and get you dirt on MO, right, instead of the money.
But I want the money.
I was going to say, yes, but I like money. But then you could pay him to get you more info. Right?
Sure. Or, you know,
That
offer
involves
to do
leaving
work for
query
him for
with him.
that. Yeah. Do we just have to trust that he's not going to kill him too quickly?
There's also the friendometer, right, of friend to enemy with Query's name above that and the party. And
Yeah.
he did kind of trust you, Lyko.
Yes. Which, I mean, his mistake.
More for
but-
him.
Yes,
Yeah.
100% his mistake, I agree. But man, he's just bailing him. That's gonna drop that meter quite a bit.
I know.
Just want to just highlight that these things will happen. Not to say that it should influence your decision heavily, but just so
The question is whether or not I can retrieve him from this situation.
Life bubble, irradiate, fly away.
I mean, Grinning was standing right beside him.
Pearl Force Disc or something. I have an arsenal here.
Do you have
Oh,
anything
did-
that could hold two Showbad out of a fight?
Pearl Force Disc. Hold on. Right. What's the damage on this? Yeah, it's not great.
Yeah, isn't that the one that ricochets like Captain America's shield?
What's your
Yeah,
biggest, scariest nuke?
Probably my 4th level Mind Thrust.
Or your any level? Was it your 2nd level mind link?
Yeah.
Mm.
I mean,
Mm-hmm.
yeah. And that's not even a great roll, and it's 47 damage. There's a crit feel in there, you know?
Yeah, it's not bad though. Not bad in terms of the dice that have come up.
That is potentially very
garbage.
dangerous.
It's a disgusting amount of damage though. A 10d10 move. It's crazy.
With
So-
fatigue.
I just think. So, given that a bunch of those dice are on the. You've got some 9s and
End.
8s. And I was going to say the high end as well. Like, it's a really
Well, some of-
polarized roll. Like,
It's a mid. It's very much a middling roll, though, right? 10d10.
Yeah, like because of the
That's
fact that
even
you've
better.
got like because you've got the 2s, 3s, and 1s, but then you've got the 7s, a 8, 9, and a 6. Like, yeah, it's distinctly average, isn't it? But then, what would the average on that be? That roll like 60?
Probably about 50. 50,
Um,
60. Well, maybe
well,
we'll clean up higher
like,
because of the.
the way like RP dice always do their averages is like an average on a on a D10 is a 6, right? The way they work it out weirdly.
Yeah.
So
Okay, so 60 would be.
yeah, like it's
That
not
is
far.
actually technically not a good roll. And it's still quite a lot of damage.
Yeah, for a one and done. Yeah.
Um,
How many of them can you throw out? It's like
Well, probably 4.
So, there you go. There's what you're working with, Lyko, if you can survive 4 rounds.
4 of those. And then I've got 5 at the lower level and 7 at the lower level of that.
So 2
The question, I
Shobad
suppose,
Giants
as well is
and
if-
him. That's what
And
you'd be up
Bad.
against by minimum, never mind the Hanger Zod and whoever else he
Yeah.
has.
can Query actually do anything to intervene, or is he too injured?
I mean, it definitely seemed like he was in a lot of pain. Like, I mean, the fact that he probably couldn't hide his actual strength by scoring at the floor with his hand,
Mhm.
yeah.
You know, maybe despite his condition, he would be strong enough to like grab Durwa by the leg and stop
Yeah.
him moving.
Yeah, maybe. He definitely doesn't. We know that he is at least capable of tearing someone's head off, right? So that's not nothing, strength-wise.
Yeah.
But
I do potentially have the capacity to use my vampire voice to
Mhm.
command some people to do simple things like,
and we know that one of the Shobad are simpler than the other.
yeah, and
So
tell it to fuck off, for instance.
yep. So you could easily like vamp voice one of them, and that's at least a very big opponent gone, which is good. So yeah, it isn't terrible, and you do have a Vesk in orbit with
Yeah, but in orbit.
with a warship.
I don't want to be in a place that he's targeting with his warship.
Life
Also, I'm
bubble,
not
it's
entirely
fine.
convinced that under the watchful eye of the stewards, I want to be attacking a planet.
Mm. Mhm. Mhm.
Tempting as it is.
I mean, you've got an Alice as well, right? The CC with a drift drive mech.
We could stick around for however long it takes them to get in, and then ambush them.
Mm.
Start with you irradiating the place, and then them coming in guns a blazing. That would be pretty fucking cool.
I like to believe that the entire episode has had, obviously minus the future stuff with Weird, we've had just Weird at like the top of the screen, 24 cut style, you know, where he's just lying peacefully for the operation. That's obviously the muted camera, but we get the synced up timeline. While all of this has been happening, you know, the meal with Query.
I had the
Yeah.
thought of I wish Weird was here to build a bomb and just blow
Yeah.
the place.
So do I. So do I.
Can you just summon and throw bombs? Aren't you like that powerful?
One
It's like-
misses the bombs.
Yeah, right. Like, you know, they send you off to get yourself cut in half and then come back with, you know.
That was a him thing. I didn't make him do
Don't
Uh,
step on his toes.
Doesn't have toes anymore, I don't think. Or is it four toes now you've got total? I don't know. It's a strange situation limb-wise. Right, so the goals aren't changing, it sounds like, right? It sounds like the goals aren't changing because you
Yes.
you don't really have a... I mean, depending on what you say, come up with, as I said, you can hit me up through the week or something for whenever we next schedule a game, and we'll see if you've got a better plan for what happened. I just cannot wait till Nico catches up with the game and finds out what the fuck his crew have done.
I actually quite kind of like the idea of wait for our desk to arrive and
Mhm.
massacre.
I mean, you could always try and levy your famous Vesk that you've got, because remember, mind, you know, fucking system-wide war hero celebrity, indebted to Grinning Durwa, not the worst, right? This is the late game. Just use the credit card that is Zora. Oh dear. So, if that's the case, let's just do wrap-up chat then. So let's start with Weird.
Love the bit Query got broken.
I bet.
No, I'm kidding. I mean, I just enjoyed the comparison between like having his terrible beer and me and Alice just
Athenida.
jolly good. Athenida, sorry.
Mhm.
Having champagne.
Yeah.
I feel like I won this one.
Yeah.
Same. I agree with your assessment.
Yeah, the future is always better, isn't it? Apparently. Mhm.
Especially when you ignore the problems and decide to set up your own business on a pleasure yacht.
At the very least, it indicates that Weird survives.
Only indicates that Weird and Thanida
The
survive.
accent faked his death.
Oh, so good. So good. Yeah, you left like your legs behind in an explosion to kind of sell people on the faked death scenario.
Oh no, I mean just having Weary being broken, does it?
Yeah, that too, I guess. God, ew. Even I feel bad for Query. And I was like, obviously orchestrated most of that behind the scenes. And I'm like, man, that still sucks though. Especially this jolly psychopath man, right? Yup. Yeah, I think it's worse as well because he's a Kasathan, so he has that weird, wise, aged wisdom Kasathan vibe going on. But just as like a laughing murderer, it seems like, or like a, not so much murderer, but like happy to like trade in the facility of pain.
Definitely a murderer.
I mean, yeah, probably. Let's face it. Yeah, but yeah, I think you definitely lucked out. Weird. The 2 weeks in the future at least goes well for you, if nobody else.
They will be missed.
Mhm,
The
mhm.
Lyco Zig Memorial. Finish.
Yeah. Oh, the Zyclo. Yeah.
know.
Yeah. Guess that means we assume Zora survives and doesn't just crash the ship into Grinning Durwa's place. It'll be fine.
Medkit!
Yeah, it's just like, I quit, and then just leaves the ship herself. Yeah. Crams herself into that mech. Be good. As well, it was a shame the Wither King didn't even get to see Cece this episode.
Hmm.
Oh,
I do actually have a
Ah.
plan. I sincerely
Okay.
do now. It
Well-
came too late.
Well, let's go to you then, next.
Okay.
Assuming Weird is done.
Yeah, I'm done.
Well, I am now stressed out. Because I genuinely don't think I want to leave him in this situation. Partly because Lyco is not a monster. No comments about zombies being monsters, please.
Oh.
He's not technically a zombie. So I don't want to leave the guy in that position just full stop. But equally, he's sort of struggling to see a way out of it. But I do have a plan, which is basically stick around here, wait for intervention, get Zig to maybe go out, message Captain and bring him in and start preparing an attack. Because I think honestly that is a good strategy. The Vesk officer sweeps in, threatens everyone, and demands the prisoner. Right? I think that could take him by surprise. I don't think it would take long before they're not living. They're the best and worst of living and undead. I mean, like their status wise, they're not treated as truly undead, but I think that's largely due to the phobia of game designers of actually undead characters in official materials for whatever reason.
Yeah.
Because they suck. Right? Let people play as listen. If 13th Age can more or less do it, even if it's only for one class. Anyway, so like I think that there's always the possibility that we can see from, and maybe he figures it out too quickly, and we just have to go for a straight fight. Maybe he doesn't. But what I'm thinking is we really need to reward Weary for his willingness to put himself into this situation.
Okay. Yeah.
And the fact that it's hurt him terribly. So my feeling is then that really we should kill Grinning Dark. And if Query wants to take his place, then that's grand. So like I think that at the very least it will give us an advantage if there turns out to be a combat, and I certainly wouldn't want to be. I mean, look, would you want? I don't care if he's got a bar full of patrons and 2 show bads, and he's strong as hell. I wouldn't want to be in the receiving end of Alice, for one thing.
No. Not many people do, right?
Because I think she will immediately jump to using the largest piece of artillery available to her, so which is concerning to me as someone who'll be in the bar. But you know,
Luckily, it's
I
mostly
definitely-
open air, and it's just going to be a bunch of cots
Yeah.
from a rickety wooden,
I
roof.
think if we're anything close to full strength, we crush him probably.
Mhm.
I don't have to have my sniper rifle to be dangerous. But I certainly don't think I'm going to toe to toe with this guy. I haven't seen what he's done. Anyway, beyond that, then the anxiety over having handed over this poor now maimed query to Grinning Dorwa, that I feel, I definitely feel bad for it. So aside from that, like, it was interesting seeing the sort of awkwardness of Zig's interactions with him and earlier with Query.
Mhm.
Zig's kind of caught in a really unpleasant mess
Mhm.
that maybe isn't necessarily his cup of tea. Maybe he's not super well suited to that. I think also that, like, if we have like a kind of brawl developing, like, as much as Lyko has said that, he's someone he wants to have, he's saved his life, and he's really powerful. As much as that is true, like, temperamentally, Zig is probably the least likely of us to start a fight, I would say.
Keep in mind, though, that's maybe you don't know what happened to him during that year, Zig.
Well, that's true.
Right? So
I'm
that's...
not discounting his ability, but
Mhm.
just like I think it's more like a case
The
of,
Zig,
like,
definitely, I agree. Definitely not the first to pull the trigger, right? As charged as that statement might be, given poor Bianca fame.
or maybe the first to inadvertently cause other people to.
Yeah.
Yeah, like, I oh my god, I just had an amazing plan. Zig. Zig.
Go on.
Okay. You mind link a random armed person.
I was thinking of mind linking with Grinning Darrow. I was not gonna lie. It crossed my mind.
I mean, I think I mentioned
But-
this when we're talking about your biggest weapon being your level 2 mind link power. Yeah. But then you might also end up back in time. So.
Yeah. I was
Um,
like, oh god.
I mean, yeah, I am genuinely intrigued to see if that works. That is like a last resort, though, right? If things are going bad, pull out the mind link. But yeah, like, it was also interesting to see, like, the development of the beginnings of the business and the development of the relationship between Weird and Zenaida, which has come a long way.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is interesting. Like, I think we're setting up roots, and if we can get rid of Durwa, then I think Lyco's apology to Query is going to be trying to sort of help establish him. Maybe on Akaton.
Enjoy being our proxy for us on Akaton, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, he suggested take Zarba's place. I'm happy to help him make that happen.
Maybe that'll be his new
That's
universe ID. He'll just go by the name Proxy instead.
Proxy would be good for an android. Yeah. And I'm just really looking forward to having the band back together again.
I know,
Mm.
poor Nico.
Feels like we're always like back together so briefly, and then everything's balanced out. Yeah. Sorry,
like
Nico wasn't here tonight. That was unfortunate. Feel better if you're listening to this.
Yeah.
And I was going to say I'll be brief, but I don't think I've been brief. So I will be stopped now.
Yes. Stoppeth the Zig.
Shall not be.
I think what we should do is Zig will go out, call the captain and everyone, find the junk rats, get them to save fake Nyx, and then go, surprise, it's not really Nyx. Nyx turned into Weird and now is the Spider-Man.
Just let him be next.
Oh, he can be Nyx. Okay, good. There we go. Sorted.
I mean, that's at least our plan. Right?
Definitely a plan.
I don't worry too much about telling the GM the plan, because if he really wants to thwart it, he'll just drop rocks on us.
Yeah. And I have a lot of rocks.
Next one is just rocks.
I get on his one big rock. I could drop it. Much like the designers dropped Galarian.
I love the image of Weird with 4 legs, 4 arms, sipping champagne on a leisure yacht in space. There is just something magical.
How does he sit? How does it look when he sits? Right?
Exactly. Like how do you just? Oh, he's so perfect.
It takes me back to Final Fantasy X in that cutscene where they all zipline to save Yuna's wedding, and Lulu just doesn't zipline and is in the next cutscene because of her character model. It looked too dumb when they animated it, so she just doesn't zipline. She's just there because she's the one in all the belts. So that's now my headcanon for Weird in this game, is that he just scene change transitions into places, as opposed to
Really helps when he can walk through the walls
right.
and fly still.
As I said, yeah, we'll need to do some rules for your armor coating, because you'll want to armor plate your legs and do the phase coating on them so that they are armored, as it were. Yep. That'll be fine. You're good at engineering rules, so.
Oh yes.
Yeah. I don't think I've seen it below a 30 in a long time, so yeah.
You've said it now.
It might not be now, yeah. Yeah, sing, sorry, Zig.
No, yeah, it was just nice. I enjoyed putting on a real fake confident Zig trying to talk to a mob boss as if he was like, I do this all the time, eh? It's it was I think I went through that as awkwardly as Zig probably would have, so that's I enjoyed that. And yeah, I enjoyed seeing Query get his leg stomped. I don't think Zig did, but me as Callum, I definitely enjoyed it a little bit.
I'm glad it seemed to be a nice wee surprise for folks. That's good.
I definitely wasn't expecting it for sure. But I think Grinning Durwa needs to die. And
He does seem
Was
like a
it-
bad.
Was it the Ahsoka comment? Was that
it was
also?
the Isoki comment. That was like and honestly, I was I was this close to like just going, no, fuck it, you're dying now. But yeah, it was again, yeah, it was a close one. It might just happen like straight away next session. I don't know. I'm gonna have to muse over this. Need to weigh up my options. But yeah, no, that was really fun.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed that, and I'm looking forward to seeing where the business goes.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see if you're still alive to see the business, and if
Yep.
Grinning Dur was also a shareholder by that point, as the only survivor of that altercation. So, it's good. Anything else you want to add, buddy?
Thanks for running. It was fun.
Yeah, no, you're more than
Yeah, you
welcome.
And
Consider.
Merry Christmas.
I was going to say
Big
yes.
Christmas.
Yes, enjoy the festive period with all of the denominations involved, and consider the 190k an additional wee Christmassy bonus for the group, even though it's mostly Lyco that has the money. Because any excuse to feed money to the party when you actually do things actually worth money for people willing to pay is always nice, because you so rarely do that in this game.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I mean,
yeah.
that's all.
But now, can you patch up Curry and sell him to MO? It's my last thoughts. And on that note-
No.
That's an Emma no. But yes.
'Cause I don't. You know what? I'm gonna go out and say she's a bad egg. I don't think whatever she's up to. I don't think it's good.
I mean,
You're wrong.
yeah, she seems to be wrong in it everywhere. She's been. But yes, thank you all for playing as per usual. I hope you have a lovely festive period. I
Thank you.
want to thank. Oh, you're welcome. I want to thank Wither King as well for watching us and sticking with us and asking us all the
Yes.
important questions.
I can't wait to right behind the scenes. I fully intend to play a game where I play just the merchant, and that's it. Sell stuff and
Such
things.
a spirit thing
Let's run
to
an
do.
NPC RPG.
I'd love it. I'd love it.
The NPC PG. We'll do that, right? We'll just be
I'll
like,
start developing that as soon as I finish with my
No, no,
Digimon.
we'll just do it in the
You
Star
aren't
Wars.
strong enough for my patience.
We'll have it in the.
I'm going into battle.
Oh, as you level up, you get a new line of dialogue. That's your powers. Oh, that's so good. There you go. I'm giving away my best
I
ideas
hear the
on
plague
stream.
went well in Star.
So goodbye, Twitch, and say goodbye, folks.
Goodbye,
Bye, folks.
folks.
Bye, folks. We did.